Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with a second live stream for today. So I was recording some videos. I have the footage for tomorrow's video already prepped and ready, and I was thinking that I really wanted to try out a new account, and I thought what better time than now to kind of stream a little bit of new account footage. That way, as new players come in, their questions can be kind of answered with my gameplay, my thought process, and it's a little bit more impactful than, running an Ultron list that they may not have the cards for a couple of months. And so thank you everyone that jumped in. I know it's way outside of our normal time, but thank you everyone that has jumped in. We have Harry, we have Trinity Sent, we have Kappa. Thank you guys for being here. I hope that you guys are having a great night. And Kappa, I know that you said it's so weird with you having a TLSG stream with the sun being up. The sun for me is down, and so it's a little bit opposite. Normally it's right in the middle of the day, and so I assume for you it's in the middle of the night. But for me now it's pretty late. It's 11 p.m. my time, but I think I feel like I could go a couple of hours and just kind of answer some questions, play a couple of games on a new zoo account, and so it should be pretty fun. And I think it should go pretty well. So the deck that we're going to cover today, I'm going to cover it really quickly since I haven't done a dedicated video to it. It's going to be an early Khazar Zoo deck list. And so right now on this account, I'm only at rank 107. So I don't have some of the cards like a Blade. Once we unlock Blade, we'll probably switch out one of our one-cost cards for maybe something a little bit stronger. So maybe we'll use a strong guy along with a Blade so that we can discard at the very end of the game. But otherwise, we have a decent start to the build. This can take out the bot matches pretty easily. And so for what rank we are, 107, it works pretty well. We are still really new into the game. We're at rank 15 right now, but it should be fun. And so, Yang, have you seen the Japanese ad for Marvel Snap? Yeah, so I actually retweeted it, and then I saw today that it was translated into, or it had subtitles to translate it into English, and so it's a really catchy tune. It was all over my Twitter feed a couple of days before launch. It was all over the place. So yeah, I've seen it, Yang. Murdoch, my dude, welcome to the nighttime. Yeah, we are a nighttime streamer. Murdoch, we are rank 15. Yeah, we do need to get good, which that's what we're going to try to do during this stream. Most of these decks, or most of these matches, with a deck that curves so low, you can pretty much play out most of your power in every single match, and that's what it's designed to do. Joshua Hilgen, yo, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're able to jump in and join us. And then Trinity Sent, I love your videos. Cool to catch you live. I'm Australian, so it's pretty rare. And that's another reason I kind of was angling towards doing one of these. One, it's going to be nice to be able to do just to cover a little bit different topic than what my normal videos cover. But at the same time, it's going to hit a different time zone. And so some people that normally aren't able to catch it are able to jump in. Mark Sign, hey, how's it going? I'm glad you're able to jump in and join us for the late stream. And then Kev OG Gaming, do you get the Iron Man or Hulk after 7 days? So you should be able to claim it right away. So as soon as you log into one of those devices, you should be able to claim your free variant. Depending on if, I think you had to pre-register. So depending on if you pre-registered, that should give you access. You and Binks are my favorite Snap streamers. Trinity, thank you so much. Binks is the OG. I got a lot of my original kind of drive to do daily videos from Trinity, and I just realized it's Trinity Sent, not Trinity. So I'm sorry, I was mispronouncing it. I got a lot of my original kind of push from Binks. He was doing daily video uploads, and I was like, hey, that's a good idea. I should jump on that. We're unlocking cards like crazy. We might as well do crazy builds wherever we can. And then kind of the rest is, I guess, history at this point. It is a little bit late for us to drop our bishop, but there's really no harm in dropping it. We're gonna have an Angela and an Iron Fist to drop on the next turn. We can always move our Nightcrawler out. With this, we're gonna be facing mostly bots. And so we can usually snap pretty liberally and not have to worry too much about it. Kappa, maybe you can also stream Sulky Hulky on these late night streams. Yeah, that's the goal. I actually have a Sulky Hulky video coming up tomorrow, and so I didn't want to stream the same deck that I'm going to use in the video for tomorrow. But maybe depending on what tomorrow's kind of agenda looks like, maybe I can stream it tomorrow night. And I think that'd be a pretty fun way to kind of introduce the Sulky Hulky into a late night stream. The interesting thing with Sulky Hulky is that we're matching up against some really strong opponents. So if we build a pool 2 deck or a pool 3 deck or an early pool 3 deck, we're matching up against people that I match up against on my main account. And so it becomes really difficult to navigate those games on some scenarios. We can still win, but it's a little bit harder. And then Chris, 20 power Apocalypse. Yeah, the double discard from Kamartaj is huge. It's pretty hard to compete with in most scenarios. But this is most likely an early bot. I think it makes it pretty. It makes it a pretty easy read to figure out where that power is going. As long as we can win 2 of the lanes or be winning in 3 of the lanes, if they do that late game 20 power push, there's not a whole lot that they can do with it. So if they push it here, it's not going to swing the lane. If they push it here, we'll still have the majority. 9:35 there, Haim. New timing. Yeah, so I'm doing a late stream. I don't know how frequently or how often, but I got my video for tomorrow done early, and I still felt like playing Snap, and I figured we might as well stream and interact with you guys while we do it. And so that's kind of where it started at. Jordan Trube, late night streaming. Yeah, we're trying to match you. You inspired us from playing from like rank 1 to so far on the launch. We figured we had to jump in with a new account and see if we could make it worthwhile. And so on this one, I'm not keeping. You may have noticed that I took away if you ever watch any of my live streams or the videos, I took away the overall cube count on this one. So normally I have it on the screen. I was on the wrong one. So normally I have it on the screen right above the cam. But with this one, we're going to be gaining cubes so quickly. Since it's a new account, we're going against a lot of bots, that I figured it's not as advantageous to keep track, because it should always be positive at this point. Tritty, I was watching Bink stream yesterday, and he wants to make a video with you that would be cool, I think. Yeah, so he reached out, and I want to do the collab with him. The potential issue becomes timing. So between working with the full-time schedule and then daily uploads, it's been tough to figure out timing for collaborations. I think it'd be really cool. The idea sounds really, really cool. Something that I'd totally be into. But figuring out a time frame is what we're working on now. That would be our next steps, though, Tritty. Joshua, you are early. We don't have it's weird. We don't have the set like parameter of a time frame for the stream, so it's just kind of going by feeling at this point. Because we don't have a set constraint of like the lunchtime has ended, and that we have to go back, and so we have I guess the night is our oyster. We can stream as long as we feel like. Or until my daughter wakes up. At that point, I probably have to go. Money Donuts. It is TLSG After Dark. I appreciate you guys being here. There was no heads up, no notice. I appreciate you guys being here and just out of nowhere. And so I hope you guys are having a great night. So far, mine's been pretty good. Everything kind of winded down at the house, and I finished up the video, and I still had a little bit of juice left, and so I wanted to play a little bit more Snap. Trinity, I like watching your lunchtime streams on YouTube for my lunch breaks. See, I'm glad that it fits somebody else's lunchtime, because I know most people, or a lot of the viewers, it is like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. And so it's really hard. It's really hard to hit those time frames. So that's another reason I wanted to stream a little bit late tonight. Akshay, oh snap! Thank you so much, Akshay. Thank you so much for the super chat. Harry, yeah, it is sleep time for most people whenever I do my lunch live stream. So this is going to be nice to be able to hit that little bit of a different demographic. And then Jeremiah, I see that you did jump in, and so welcome. I know that you jumped in pretty late notice as well. I appreciate it. So we can send some stuff off of our Angela. I think we may even just hold a little bit here. We don't need to flood the board. We have some pretty big power. We can do an Iron Fist here. Next turn we can do an Iron Man and an Ant-Man, whichever one will push over. Or we can move Nightcrawler so that it'll push over. I think either way we'll be all right. Sean, hey TLSG, I used your Zoo deck to get to rank 45. Made my own discard deck today and pushed to rank 60. That's amazing, Sean. A lot of the early decks, they're there to kind of give you a time frame or kind of a thought process when building. But the thing that I like so much about Snap is that it's 12 cards. And so if you want to build your own deck and maybe you don't have any deck building experience, thank you so much, J3U3, for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. But if you feel like you want to try to build a new deck, it's not that hard to jump in, take out a few cards, put in ones that you want to try out, and figure out a way to make them work. So that's one of the really cool things about the game, is that it is so versatile and easy to jump into, that I find it really enjoyable. I think we're gonna not use the Iron Fist bonus. We're gonna put Ant-Man over here. Right now, the next card that we play is gonna push over. I think we just stack our power into Oscorp in New York, and we go ahead and snap. Most of these bot games are gonna be pretty easy early on, and so most of the time we can just kind of snap in and run it. Haim, lore accurate YouTuber. What do you mean? What do you mean, Haim? TLSG After Dark. Jordan 2, probably going to push for rank 400 tomorrow. Jordan, you are a madman. What collection level are you now? You're absolutely on that snap grind. It sunk its teeth in, and it has you hooked. Next season may be a little bit tougher. So what I found on my free-to-play, or my last free-to-play account, was that once the season reset, it got much harder for me, because I started matching against people that were a lot higher collection level at that point, and kind of it adjusted my my MMR. And so push while you can. If it's a little bit harder next time, I mean at least you'll have a lot of experience to go into. Yeah, but Mr. Flanders, rank 400 is nuts. That live Smurf guy. Murdoff, if I thought we were going to play against very many humans, I would feel, yeah, you're right, I would feel really bad about running on this account. But since we're most likely going to go against bots for the majority, because right now we're around rank 16. Most of the time we're going to go against bots until at least 40 or so. And so I don't feel as bad. I gave it a couple days. I didn't want to start a brand new account on global launch. I just felt like it would be unfair to anyone that was truly new, because then we have all of this previous experience, and it's just not quite as enjoyable. I wanted them to have time any new players to have time to kind of be introduced, and then now we're gonna kind of creep up on our free to play account, or I guess our second free to play account at this point. That live Smurf guy. Rank 400. When you don't get any benefits from above 100, but you still play because you're addicted. That's what I fall into. On our main account on TLSG, I find that sometimes after I finish a video, because I switch decks so often, that I don't get a chance to really enjoy like fully some of the decks that we cover, because we cover a deck and we're like, wow, this is really good. We feature it, and then we move on to the next one. And so there's some times where I'm just like, I'm gonna play the deck that we featured for a little bit longer, while the video renders or while it uploads. And so yeah, it definitely has its teeth sank into me as well. And so we're gonna play our Khazar and Bifrost. That's gonna buff up the majority of our deck. We also have our Blue Marvel, and then I don't think we have any issues here. Jordan, you're stupid. Why? What happened? Tritty, I have 8 cards left of pull 3, and I'm still missing Mystique. Oh, Tritty, I hope that you don't fall into the same category that I did, where it's your very last card. That was really painful. You read it backwards. Imagine you meet someone called not Q. That would be the ultimate arch rival, arch nemesis, if Q just pops up as not Q to stream snipe us even on our new account. That'd be pretty funny. I didn't understand. Yeah, I didn't either, Jordan. I didn't follow the read it backwards. What's your favorite style of deck? Control for me, Goblins, Professor X, Spider-Man. My favorite is a debris junk style deck. That's one of my favorite ones to run. The issue that I have with it is that it forces a lot of retreats. So decks that use Professor X, decks that like really control the opponent, it forces them to knowing that they lost. Whereas the key to gaining a lot of cubes in the late game is to have like that big surge of power on that final turn or that surprise play. And so for me personally, I like the control decks. I think those feel really, really fun. I like being able to like anticipate and play around the opponent. But I think overall they gain a lower net cube per game, just because of the fact that you get a lot more retreats. Lizard King, yes, I finally caught your live again. I'm so glad that you jumped in and joined us. We threw this together. It was like a last minute like thought. I finished my video for tonight and I just had some extra energy. I figured it's a good time to be able to chat with any new players that we have, and kind of talk through some different thought processes, how we play particular games, especially early on. And so I jumped on a new account, something that's going to be in that, you know, pool 1 creeping into pool 2 pretty soon type account, so that we can, so that the gameplays are a little bit more impactful for our new players. Totally not a lot of cubes, but I like to taste, I like to taste my opponent's salt. I agree, Murdoff. I really like the control, and Debris has, as soon as I pulled it, that was one of my favorite cards. Finding a way to make it work is difficult, but I think there's been a lot of brewing and a lot of strides in that direction, and so I think it feels like it's in a pretty good spot. But I just don't think it gains as much cubes as something else. Jordan, your rank is 62? Not as crazy now. Wait, what happened? I thought you said you were 115.
Oh, snap.
Thank you so much, Nathan, for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. If this is the first time that you're seeing us, or if maybe you've caught some of our other videos, we do daily Marvel Snap content. We are very, very much addicted to the game. The gameplay that we have at this point 3 accounts, and so we are definitely addicted at this point, and so we enjoy it on all of them. Harrison, I feel a little guilty for not watching as much of your content since launch, but I hope the buzz has brought in new people. Harrison, now I completely understand if you are engrossed in, you know, enjoying the game. That's okay. You don't have to feel guilty for not watching. I appreciate whenever you do jump in and check it out, but don't feel like you're obligated to at any point. We have had a pretty good uptick in new viewers and just new subscribers and just viewership in general, just from the buzz of the launch. We did an almost 9 hour stream on launch day. That was really successful. We had a lot of positivity. We had a lot of good deck builds, a lot of new people introduced. I think we gained almost 400 subscribers that day, which was massive. And so it don't feel, I guess, long story short, Harrison, don't feel guilty. You're perfectly fine. So we're not gonna be able to play Iron Man next turn, so we'll end up doing something like Iron Fist and another card. But I think we leave this lane open for a potential turn 6 Iron Man. That way we can elevate the power here. Since they don't have power in the middle right now, I think we should be okay. Collection level 318, TLSG. Oh, you're pushing for collection for 400? Rank 318 would be insane. Yeah. I was. It would be a huge time commitment. Just being able to push that far, that hard, that quickly would be nuts. But who am I to say that it didn't happen? So I was like, maybe you've been playing it nonstop since it launched. I know that you said, I think you said you had the day off when it launched, and that's why you were able to play so much at least that first day. Odabird, I play like a new character. Are you going to keep this account free to play, Sean? So I have one that's free to play already. I don't know. I'm sure that if I did anything, I would just buy the season pass on this one. But I think most likely I'll keep it free to play. TLSG, or not TLSG, Sulky Hulky, our other free-to-play account, is almost probably halfway through the full collection. We're nearing like that 1500 collection level, completely free to play, and it didn't take all that long, a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And so I don't feel the need to like spend a bunch of money to be able to progress quicker, especially if we're really making content for the lower levels as new players get in. Soul Stealer, how's it going? I'm glad that you were able to jump in as well. I hope that you're having a great night or morning or whatever time it is for you there. And I'm glad that you're able to jump in and join us, at least for a little bit. I started playing on launch day and I'm only collection log 172. And and I think there's a couple of different ways to play. You could either push for, you know, like really grinding, really getting rank early, really collecting as many cards as possible, which is one way to play. If that's your style, that's perfect. But there's no harm in just playing to complete your missions and just kind of playing casually here and there. And you're still going to get just about as much benefit. You might level just a little bit slower, but you're still going to get there. You're still going to get there in the end, and you're still going to make quite a bit of progress as long as you complete your daily and weekly missions. That's going to be a bulk of your collection growth. After that, you get some small bonuses from like the season pass or from like certain ranks. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, as long as you're doing your daily and weeklies, you should be all right. Joshua, I'm at collection level 1404 and hard stuck at rank 60s. From my experience on Sulky Hulky, around that collection is pretty tough. You're no longer matching up against pool 2 or bots primarily. You're playing against people that have deep pool 3 collections. And so for me, I'm playing against people that I play on our main account. And so I agree, it's really tough. I've bounced anywhere from level like 40 to 60. I think I peaked at 70 last season, and even that was a little bit challenging. And so don't feel bad if you're stuck there. Give it a little time. As you get more cards and more combos, you'll be able to build some of those really powerful decks. Just kind of, I guess, learn what's good right now and see if you can find ways to counter it, knowing what's big and what's popular. Jordan Troop, I thought collection level was rank. That's what happened. Oh, I got you. I got you, Jordan. And that's okay. So you're almost collection 400. So you're almost through pool 2, and then because pool 2, I believe, ends at 454 or somewhere around there. You're about to start cracking into pool 3 cards, which is where it gets pretty exciting. And so whenever we're running this deck, and actually I think we're running up against one of our, there's no way this is human. They played a Blade into Space Throne. They just have a human-like avatar. But that's a very non-human play. But whenever we have an Angela, we try to stack as much power as we can into the Angela lane. The more cards we play there, the better she's going to be overall. And so we like to do things like Iron Fist to push the power out. And other similar plays. That way we can continue to push more cards in her lane. And all we have to do over here is push a 4 power play. So actually, I think we play our Bishop. We save Khazar for here because that'll give us the win in this lane. And then on the final turn, we can do something like Iron Man and then maybe a 1 cost. Oh, Dad, I take back my cap call on Jordan from the other day. Him being that collection level makes much more sense. It does, Dad. And I mean, you could grind to rank 100 pretty quickly early on, but I think it would take a lot of playtime. I think someone just wandered on the TVA location. FJY, thank you. Sorry, FJY, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I think we can do our Khazar. We can do an Uwadu into the ruins. We can move our Nightcrawler out on the final turn. We're pushing to win this lane and this one. I'm not sure why we didn't snap earlier. As soon as we saw Blade into Space Throne, that should have been our cue to go ahead and snap right away. Sean, not gonna lie, I've been loving the game, so have been wailing since launch. Already collection level 430. Yeah, I was there. Whenever I got into the beta, normally I don't spend money on like mobile games or very much on card games in general, just kind of like the bare minimum to get by. Usually I'm a dolphin. I'll pay for maybe like a season pass or 2, but from there, I don't spend a whole lot on like variants and cosmetics. But on this one, I pushed for collection log level. I've bought a few variants. It's just I enjoy the game so much that don't feel like it's wasting that money to be able to invest back into the company that has given me so much, I guess, enjoyment or time to enjoy their game. And so we should win left, we should win right without much issue. Muir Island we knew was a loss as soon as they started stacking power there early, but I don't think they can come up over us in any of the other lanes. Did you know dolphins do a lot of sus things? Dad, I did. And let me tell you, the first time I learned about the sus things that dolphins do, I was shocked. So yeah, I do know that dolphins do some pretty suspicious things. Trinity, I'm a sucker for variants. Chibis get me every time. Yeah, there's a few that I have my eyes on. I'm pretty picky when it comes to variants, because if I already have a variant that I like for a card, I'm much less likely to buy more variants for it. And so unless it's just one that I just really, really enjoy, at which point I'll buy the new one and use that instead. But if I have one that I'm already happy with using, at that point, it's kind of like an avatar. It loses that, I don't know, that excitement, because you already have a variation of one. And then Jeremiah addressing Sean, Artemis, followed your advice and put in Angela into Falcon Beast move deck. She gets super stacked. She does. She can get like insanely stacked really, really easily. Just because you're pushing things away from her lane so you can continue to drop cards there. I think Angela is probably one of the strongest cards for any kind of tempo deck that we have right now. Angela feels incredibly strong, especially if you're running like a low to the ground tempo, and especially move components as well. Make it even more impactful. And so the last location is going to be Necrotia. I think we stack some of our power into Kiln. We do Angela, Bishop on turn 4. We'll probably drop 2 1-cost cards. I don't know if we compete for Sakaar or not, looking at seeing their Iron Man there early, because we don't have any way to counter it. So we might push for far left and far right. Hockey, unusual time for a live. It is. It's pretty late for me. It's 11:30 p.m. My time. But I finished up my video early, and I had more gas in the tank. I still wanted to play some Snap, and I got the itch to do it on a new account and just kind of go through that rank up again. I've seen so many other people kind of step back in and look at it, and so then here we are. It was a last minute thing, or else I would have given a heads up in the Discord at least a little bit longer out. But yeah, it was a very last minute decision that kind of came about pretty quickly or abruptly. Got to be honest, it's weird having TLSG on at 11:30 p.m. Usually part of my weekday morning routine. It's a little weird to be on this at this time, Dad. So you're not wrong in feeling that way. Yeah, this is usually my like structured video recording time. So the time where I'm really pushing to get the clips and the editing done. But I got it done early, which worked out pretty well. Thank you so much, Kiko, for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope that you enjoy the content and enjoy your stay. So here we can push one more card over into the Kiln location. We're going to probably stack our Iron Man into Sakaar. Iron Man into Necrotia always feels underwhelming, because it's going to duplicate that -2, and so it becomes really hard. You're fighting against yourself to stay positive. And so I think we may drop... Let's go ahead and push a card over. That way we have the space taken up. It already locks in over here. That's going to leave us free to do an Iron Man and a Misty Knight on this final turn, and we'll see what they end up dropping. Q woke up from my afternoon nap. Q, I think it was Harry. I think it was Harry. Either that or Kappa. Somebody made the comment that if we run into somebody named Not Q, they could see us running into Not Q, our arch nemesis. I mean, so if for some reason the one human that we match up against is you, I'm gonna know that you woke up just to like absolutely demolish us on this new account. I think we might actually lose this one. This may be our first loss. So looking at their power, an Iron Man versus Iron Man is already tough. We invested a little bit too much resources into Kiln, given what they had. We could have been safe playing our Khazar here. That would have given us a little bit bigger of a push. But putting 2 more is not really going to get us above that +18, and then they can still drop more cards. So this one is going to be one of those that we want to back out of. We just don't have the reach. And Necrotia is really tough for a low to the ground, low power push deck. And so if you get outpowered, at that point, it's a little bit easier to, or it's a better decision to reset, jump out, and then jump into a better one where you have a little bit better setup. Dad, does YouTube split subs like Twitch? Does 50-50 or do streamers get the whole sub? Feel free to pass on answering. Just curious. Yeah, it's a 70-30. So Jeremiah has it right. And so and I think the reason for the bigger split, you don't have the potential Twitch Prime subs and things like that. But as far as like the revenue share or the splits, YouTube is much more generous than Twitch. I don't know if it's because they're just getting into the streaming scene. Yeah, so YouTube is the 30%, and then we get the 70% of the cut. And then Pratt, why a new account? So I wanted an account that, well, I was kind of itching to play on a new account and feel the grind again. I've seen a lot of other people kind of do the same thing, and honestly, I finished recording our Pool 2 series, so a Sulky Hulky video, and I wanted to continue playing. I had a little bit more left in the tank, and so I wanted something where I'm able to play, chat pretty freely without really impacting the potential play lines or the game. And so I felt like a free-to-play account or a brand new account was going to be nice just to kind of welcome new players in. They'd have plenty of space to kind of see the new gameplay, ask any kind of questions that they might have, and it's a little bit more relevant gameplay for any new viewers that we might have attracted with global launch, because right now they're in pools 1 and pools 2, and so the gameplay and looking at like the play lines might be more impactful for them than looking at an Ultron play line, since they won't be at that point for just a little while. But we are going to go ahead and stack Ant-Man and Nightcrawler into Mojo World. Once you get a little bit further on, stacking 1-cost cards into Mojo World is something that you want to shy away from, because of things like Elektra and Killmonger that can really destroy these cards. And if they can destroy one and then they have the card advantage over you, they automatically win the location, even if they play all rocks, or all Mjolnirs, or all really low-cost cards. And so later on, once Killmonger is into the mix, right now all we have to worry about is Elektra. But once Killmonger is in the mix, we want to be a little bit more strategic about our Mojo World play. And so we could push into Space Throne. I don't think we do. I think we do a Blue Marvel into Washington, D.C. That's going to let us drop both of these on the final turn to figure out where we need to push that final piece of power. Soul Stealer. Yeah, he should have held the Elektra. But we're still ranked around 20-ish, and so most of these players are going to be bots, or if we match up against any humans, they'll be new, and so they may not know kind of that play line that came about during beta. It's not completely abstract, but it's not like an easy to know one. It's not like the first time you saw the location. It's like you knew exactly what to hold or where to do it. So maybe if they are completely brand new, maybe they are truly, they just didn't know that it was a potential play line. But had they held Elektra, they could have absolutely swung this location. So since they have the discard of Apocalypse, their big push is going to be either here, or here. If it's here, they'll win Washington, D.C., but we'll win this one by more than 100 because they won't have enough cards to compete with our 4, and then the tie and Space Throne will be fine. Debrum, all digital cuts are at ridiculous levels. So like the 70-30, is that what you're talking about, Debrum? Dad, I should do YouTube streaming as a side hustle. We will absolutely support you. We will always support our dad. And so if you end up doing that, let us know. I'll be sure to check it out. Electronitis, how's it going? I hope that you're having a great night so far. Thank you for jumping in and joining us. Are you? I don't know that I recognize your name. Are you a newer player? Did you just recently find our channel, or are you typically maybe more of a lurker? Or just don't join into the live streams because it's not a good time. Juan, how's it going? This was a surprise stream. Glad to be here. I'm glad that you were able to make it, Juan. This was a surprise stream to me as well. I didn't necessarily plan it ahead of time. it was just something that kind of happened. So I recorded the footage for tomorrow's video, and then I had a little bit of a little extra desire to keep playing. And so then all of a sudden I was setting up a new account for a new stream. Davian, armor should be added so you have something to use against Killmonger. Not a direct counter, but it is something. Yeah, so once, Davian, for a Khazar Zoo, once we get around pool 3, or around pool 2, sorry. Once we get around pool 2 and we start matching up against people that run those, I absolutely agree. Having an armor can protect your low power, or your low cost cards, your 1-cost cards, from being destroyed. But right now, we're still really low in that collection. And so it doesn't necessarily hurt us to not have armor. I think as you get further on in your collection, you have to be a little bit more strategic about how you build your Khazar Zoo. Right now, you can pretty much throw as many 1-costs as you want in there. And then as long as you have a few big finishers for the end, you have your Khazar, maybe a Blue Marvel to buff them up. At that point, you should be set, at least this early on. Later on, you have to get a little bit more strategic about it. Yo Haynes, how if I don't have Angela and Bishop, can I replace that card with another? For this deck, thank you so much, Yo Haynes, for subscribing, by the way. So if in this deck, without Angela and Bishop, I think I would go with like a Spectrum ongoing or an Odin on reveal until you get those cards. So Angela typically will be between like 7 and 9 power with this list. And so it's really hard to find a similar cost replacement. And so for me, Khazar Zoo really gains its strength once you have a couple of those avenues for that power push. Because at that point, you have your Angela, you have your Bishop to really hold your power level overall, making it easier to drop your Iron Man on one of those final turns. And so I think maybe we start splitting our power a little bit. We're going to push some into backs reeling. That will push power into these other lanes. And we don't have a great setup hand. We don't have our Angela for a big power push. They have a pretty decent power push in the vault already, which will lock down on 6. So we might need to throw maybe our Iron Man over there on 5, depending on what resource we draw into. We could also throw a Blue Marvel over there and might be fine, because Bishop will continue to buff up overall. And then Ivan, any tips on a good pool 2 deck to climb with? Ivan, so I actually have a video for a pool 2 deck coming out tomorrow. And so do you have Storm yet, Ivan? If so, then you're absolutely set. That's the only requirement for this pool 2 build, and it feels really solid. I used it on Sulky Hulky, my other free-to-play account that matches up against people with a pool 3 collection, and so it feels really... Oh, no, not yet? Okay. So in that case, do you have Collector? Collector is another pretty decent one to build a Devil Dino. If you don't have Collector just yet, then a potential like Sunspot or Infinite is pretty good and pretty viable as well. But Zach, yeah, you will get them pretty quickly. But Storm is huge. Once you get that, I think you're gonna be home free. I miss Sulky Hulky videos. I've been doing one just about every Saturday still. It just, I found that time slot works a little bit better. It doesn't fall into like any of the featured locations, and so I've been trying to do them each Saturday. Zach, the nice thing about this game is that you will get very playable decks in under 2 weeks. Yeah, so even if you don't have them right away, the cards will absolutely come. And so I completely agree. You get, even if you don't have the same playable deck as somebody else, you get cards and pieces of combos that you're going to be able to find a way to make fit. And so if nobody else is running one at 12 cards, it's a little bit easier to kind of brew your own decks and your own solutions. And so I'm a full supporter of just like, if you find a card or you have a card that you really want to run, but it doesn't seem like anybody else is running it, try to think of what that card's like main draw is. Like, what is that card benefit, and then building a deck around it. So whenever I first started my videos, I focused mainly on building decks around whatever mystery card I pulled for the day. So in pool 3, you're not going to pull cards as often, and so I would pull a mystery card, and no matter how good or bad I felt like it might be, I gave it a shot. I ran it in a deck list, whether it was optimal or not, to see if I could make something work. And I feel like that was where a lot of like the brewing and just like the growth in my deck building process came from. And so yeah, as you unlock cards, if you don't see anyone else running one, but you have a hero that you just want in your deck, I'm a full supporter of like kind of brewing your own, you know, home concoctions to see if you can find something that works. Do you run discard/destroy decks at all? If so, I'd love some gameplay one of these days. I have previously, but with some of the recent kind of balances, I haven't. And then Drew Barry, how's it going? How's it been starting a new account from scratch? So it's been refreshing. So I almost forgot what the start of the game is like. And so it's been kind of fun, and I'm able to, you know, focus a lot more on chat because the games aren't necessarily as complex, especially with the Khazar Zoo. You can pretty much dump your hand, not have to worry too much, and so then you can focus more on chat. And so I've been enjoying at least this stream so far. It's been really fun. But as far as running a discard or destroy, so I've ran some destroy decks. Destroy I think is still pretty viable. Discard is in a tough spot. So with the balances to Lady Sif, Hellcow used to be a really insane card for a discard deck list. It's just been a little bit harder to find one that's as consistent. It can still reach that power push if you get a good draw, but it's hard countered by a few different things. And so I'll take a look at another discard deck. Are you talking about like maybe like a Dracula Apocalypse discard deck, Jordan? Because if so, I can revisit and see if I can find something that works. Davian, yeah, they've hurt discard quite a bit. To be fair, it was in a really strong spot a few patches ago. And so to be completely fair, it probably needed to be killed a little bit. But now it relies a lot on luck and draw. What's a good use for Quake? Artemis. So Quake is a tricky one. You could try to use it in like a Storm deck where you drop Storm, you force the opponent, or you trick the opponent into dropping resources into the Storm lane, and then you Quake it away. But outside of that, as the Bitter Fig said, Cerebro 3 is pretty decent. And then I like it whenever featured locations are here. If it is a really impactful featured or hot location, being able to steal that one away is always so satisfying. And so you know that people will build decks around that location. And so being able to switch it away and pull it away is really, really satisfying. Those are like the few uses for Quake that I've seen. Sissio, bro, I'm level 54. I'm addicted. It gets its teeth in, and I think they've done it in a pretty elegant way. And so they start off with a little bit easier matches. A lot of times you're going to have a pretty good advantage in these matches and these matchups, and just overall it feels really fun, really enjoyable. And then before you know it, you've transitioned into like a more hyper competitive mode, and you're still like that as addicted as you were whenever you were playing like through the tutorial or through some of the early bot matches. And you don't even realize that transition happens. And I think it's so funny to see and think back, because like my very first video. You're right, Addy. Hawkeye won't work over there. I already locked it in though. Yeah, he's just going to be a 1-1. You're right. He's going to be a 1-2. He's going to be a 1-3. He's going to be a 1-3, Addy. So with Blue Marvel, with Khazar, he'll be a 1-3. He'll be all right. I don't think we have to worry too much about it. But looking back at some of my original videos, before I realized like what were bot-like moves and the way that they structured it, I was having so much fun, and I didn't realize that I was playing bots at the time. After a while, you started learning some of the like intricacies and figuring out where bots are, like how to identify bots. And then now it's a little bit harder. They've taken away a lot of those key identifiers. But I still remember that feeling, and it was so exciting to like snap, and then they snap back, and you get the 8 cubes. It was phenomenal. And I hope that everyone else has kind of that same kind of feeling as that I had at that time, because that is what really like sunk me in and sold me on Marvel Snap, was that feeling. Addy, you watched Black Adam yesterday? How was it? I'm hesitant to say it lightly. I'm hesitant about Black Adam. DC has let me down in several of their movies. For a while, I liked their shows better than their movies, and for a while, for Marvel, I liked their movies better than their shows. And I think DC is just so recently let me down on so many like levels that I'm hesitant about the movie. Tritty, yeah, so did I. Addy, I was actually very good. And then Eric, what type of cards do you get after you get them to infinite multiple times? So there's a couple of splits. So each time you split a card at infinite, you get the same card. It retains the same like stat line, the same powers, the same cost, the same abilities. Where it differs is just the cosmetic. So it'll have like an orbiting like. It has like some particles that orbit around it. Some really cool ones that you can get are an all gold card, where the whole background is gold. Those are pretty sleek. You have to split at least, I believe, 4 times to potentially get one whenever you split. And then more recently, you can get an inkified version, which is just a black and white version of the card. And so once you kind of continue to split your card, you continue to have chances to draw into those particular splits, which those are pretty sought after right now. Do you think there could be a viable deck where both Spider-Man are in? So Spider-Man and Miles? I do. So I ran against somebody that I believe they called it the Spider-Man in their deck, and if I remember right, I got beaten pretty badly. And so I think there's some scenarios. I don't know that Miles or Spider-Man. I think they're both fairly kind of niche. They have good usages, and they're kind of flexible, but it's not a meta definer necessarily. And so I think there's a deck list out there that could use both, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what that list looks like though. Dad, did you like the new Batman? I have. I'm trying to think of a way to put it diplomatically. I don't see Robert. I don't see Robert as Batman. I think for the most part he did okay. I think the storyline was good. He didn't feel like a Batman. Like the voice, it just didn't feel. I don't know. I know that a lot of people liked it. I didn't have anything like at my core wrong with it. It just, I don't know. For some reason, I still feel like it was a little bit of a miscast, and that may just be me and my thought process on it. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand. You have your pitchforks. You have them aimed and coming to Houston. I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed it. But you said Pattinson is a good Bruce Wayne. I think he did Tortured very good. I think it was just a different side of Batman that didn't. I don't know. I didn't dislike it. I just, every time I saw him, I thought of Vampire. I thought of Twilight, and so I think it's just like that is what I knew him from growing up, and so that is what I associate him with. I think he did a Tortured like role very, very well. But I don't know. I'm not so sold on it, and so please don't aim your pitchforks at me. Like how Ben Affleck is. Pattinson is a good Bruce Wayne. How the same way Ben is a good Batman. I could see that. Josh, thanks so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope that you enjoy the content and enjoy your stay. We're glad to have you. It was as good as Nolan's Batman. Oh man, maybe I need to rewatch it. Maybe I was too harsh. I can go back and rewatch it. But as of right now, that's my feelings on it. You've split Agatha 6 times, but nothing too special yet. Oof. I see that you found the new emoji. I needed to make sure that I used the slots before they went away. Because with the way that YouTube works, whenever you get a set number of members, you unlock additional emoji slots. And so if you don't use one and have one in place and you drop below that set number of members, then you lose that spot. And so I plugged back in it's a new one, it's Oof. And then I also plugged back in the Spider-Woman hair avatar. And so those are back for now. I don't know that they stay forever. But I wanted to make sure I utilized the emojis while I had them. Because then I can always switch the JPEG. Even if I lose that slot, I can still change it without losing the actual slot itself. Why include Iron Fist over another 1-cost card? Brian, so right now I have I'll pull up my collection after this one. I have a pretty limited collection. And so including Iron Fist is just a way to buff up Angela, and it's really one of the only decent 1-costs that I have outside of what I've already added. And so once I get something like Blade, I plan to probably take out Iron Fist, probably take out Misty Knight as well, just because she's a flat vanilla card. She doesn't get a lot of upside from really anything else other than, Khazar and Blue Marvel. I'll probably take out Iron Fist, add in Blade, and Strong Guy at some point. That way I can get a pretty good 10 power push at some point along the line. Cozy, welcome to the late night stream. We have made it to the end of the week. I'm glad that you're able to jump in and join us. Everyone has their own taste, so no big deal. We can't all like the same stuff. That's true. As long as you have put down the pitchforks, then I'm absolutely happy. I don't want to upset Dad in any way, shape, or form. Do you have a Carnage deck in Pool 1? Carnage is kind of difficult for Pool 1, Shayla. So Carnage doesn't have a lot of really good enablers until you're quite a bit later on. And so you can use it in a low to the ground deck that will generate tokens or cards that you don't necessarily care about, primarily using something like Nova. But the overall efficiency of it is kind of lackluster until you get a little bit later on. Totally not TLSG. Yeah, that's the name that we chose for our new account, just in case we run into anyone human. I figured it was a funny way to go about it. But we know that this last location is Wakandan Embassy. I'm actually going to hold most of our cards until that point, so that they can all get the +2 power bonus. Good thing Rocky Road. Good thing I went on YouTube. I'm glad that you jumped in and joined us. It was a last minute decision to go live. I finished up my videos. I have a little bit of time. My daughter finally went down to sleep. She's been a little bit under the weather. She finally seems like she is sleeping well. And so I had a little bit of gas left in the tank, and so I figured I'd jump in and go live with a new account. That way I could focus on chatting, focus on answering new pool related questions and new player related questions without having it take away too much from the game. Because something like a Khazar Zoo doesn't require as big a brain of thinking, so I don't have to think through the play lines as hard. It's not as as difficult to navigate. Not that it's not as powerful. It's just a little bit more straightforward. A zoo deck or an aggro deck is always flood numbers onto the board. No matter what game you're playing, whether it be like an MMO like World of Warcraft, aggro is you flood numbers. You do big powerful things, and then you don't worry about the repercussions. That's the similar here. We dump our hand, and then we kind of go on and go forward. Oh my, since it's your night, it's my morning. A couple of people have said that. Somebody said that it was weird seeing me with the sun up. And so for me, it's the first time I'm streaming with the sun down. And so it's like everything, all the roles flipped, which is kind of funny, kind of entertaining to me. So I think we start throwing some of our cards into the vault. Since that one's going to lock down after turn 6, I think we push some of our power there. We have a pretty big power component in Bishop in the far right lane. And again, these are still pretty early on, so they should be pretty easy matches for the most part. No, I'm bringing the pitchfork and belt over to Houston still. I will vacate Houston as quickly as possible. I don't want to be pitchforked. In the Rocky Road. Yeah, it is definitely a night stream, Specs. And yeah, we are definitely live. First half was mid. Second half was really good. Action sequences were interesting. Side character buildups were not good. Dwayne killed it. It's overall a pretty decent origin story, and I'm very excited to see him in future videos. Okay, so I mean that gives us a pretty good idea of kind of what the movie looks like, and because I don't know, I'm still not 100% sold on it. But I know that he does pretty good in most of his roles, and so I think it could have some meat to it. Chris Watkins, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope that you're having a good night or good morning or whatever time it is for you over there. Time zones are always tough. Laser Gazer, good morning. What do you think about Uwadu? Uwadu is an interesting one. I think in most games, he's just a 1-2. In certain scenarios, he's going to be really good. So whenever we have a featured location for example, whenever we had the raft as the featured location and you wanted to flood power there as quickly as possible, I feel like Uwadu gained a lot of value by having him. If you could identify the peak early and push your power there, you would have an advantage of getting that free 6-cost card over your opponent. So I think he's kind of like Quake. Whenever locations are featured, his value increases pretty dramatically. But whenever a featured location is not in effect, he's okay. Sometimes he'll give you some pretty good information, but most of the time he's just a 1-2. And right now we have a pretty limited pool of 1-cost cards. And so for me, it's just an okay slot. Laser Gazer, it's your favorite, or I guess Will's. Uwadu's your favorite card. And then Uwadu never comes in my starting in the start of my hand in the first 3 turns. It can feel like that. Just like whenever I run Angel, I feel like that card is designed to, whenever you run it, it starts in your hand, so that you can't get the deck thinning potential out of it. But as far as the question about why I have Iron Fist in, we don't have a lot of other good 1-cost cards. And so our only other options, our only other 1-cost options are Quicksilver, which we don't need. We don't need the guaranteed in our starting hand because we have so many 1-cost cards. And then Nova, which if our 1-costs get destroyed, we'll probably lose anyways. And so we don't have a destruction trigger for it. And so it feels pretty lackluster. At least I get a little bit of utilization from the Iron Fist in the list. Soul Stiller, how does everyone have Nova except for me? I think I pulled him pretty early on this account. We pulled him around 66. What collection are you, Soul Stealer? You'll get there. Getting to the end of pool 1 doesn't take too long, maybe a week to 2 weeks if you're playing pretty consistently. And since we came in towards the end of a season, you actually have a little bit of a bonus. You have a lot of the weekly season pass missions. Even if you don't buy the season pass, you can get to the very end of it where you get the free the level 50 plus crates. Those are free even if you don't buy the pass, and so you can find a lot of upside from those anyways. And so if you don't have it now, you'll get there soon. So you're 172. You only have about 30 to 40 levels to go. So you'll have to get it pretty soon, and that'll be a guaranteed pull within the next 30 or 40. Carnage, but not Nova. Sad, and it's not too big of a loss this early on. The Nova Carnage used to be insane. Like that was the card to have. If you didn't have it, it was going to be hard to be competitive. But since they nerfed it, it feels okay in certain shells, but it doesn't feel like a have to include in absolutely everything. And so I think there's definitely still ways to win without it. And then Strong Guy in a Zoo deck. Yeah, so once I get Blade, I plan on dropping a Strong Guy into this list. That way we have, because this deck has a low enough curve that in the majority of the games, we're going to have our hand empty. But we want Blade as a kind of backup. That way, if we, for some reason, don't draw the ideal playline, we draw our cards in a weird order, we have that backup plan to be able to trigger his ongoing ability. Because if we have him and he's a 4-cost, 4-power card, it's an underwhelming slot. If we can guarantee that he becomes a 10-power card, at that point he becomes a powerhouse. That deck keeps destroying you. Patriot, Dad, you have Enchantress, right? If you're seeing a lot of Patriot decks, I would recommend maybe teching in Enchantress into a couple of your decks. And so if you're deep in the collection, I know that a 0 Red Skull deck does that very, very well. And then Big D, wow, my first time being able to catch a live stream. How's it going, Big D? I hope that you're having a great afternoon. I hope that your week went well. This is one of the first times that I've streamed during like this time frame. It was kind of a last minute thing. I finished up my video for the night. I guess I actually have about 20 more minutes of editing, but I realized I wanted to keep playing Snap. I'm that addicted to it that even outside of, recording the clips and getting the clips that I need for the games that I need them for, I still felt the need and wanted to play. And so I decided to pop in a quick live stream and see see how many people wanted to jump in.
Took you long enough.
Cozy, thank you so much for joining us as a channel member. If you refresh the stream, you will get a list of the growing list of emojis from our collaboration on the tier list and from your experience with streaming. I'm sure that you know that already, but I do appreciate the support. And so I think we maybe play Medusa here, either that or we push our Iron Man directly to the side. And then we can move our cards out. We can drop Medusa on the last turn and then try to win this location. Jeremiah, hey, at Cozy Snap plus one more. Yeah, you have access to the new emojis. And then Rye Guy is able to join us as well. Rye Guy, I hope that you've been having a great night so far. And I'm glad that you're able to jump in and join us. Had to join and support you. Ajax Kacha, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope that you're having a great day so far. And then Cozy, I actually have, from whenever I was watching your stream on Twitch, I actually got gifted a sub there as well. And so once that ends, I'll have to re-up it though. And so I think we still go with moving the Nightcrawler out. We can do a Medusa here that should push us no problem for the win condition in this lane. Then we can drop our Groot and our Yondu. If they push any power here, then we'll overcome their power level. I think we just abandon Miniaturized Lab for now. And so we'll go ahead and snap. We have a really decent power push. The setup has been pretty good. And with pulling Groot from the opponent's deck, we're in a pretty good spot. Cozy Snap, ever going back to DSA. So I actually did a little bit of, once I kind of worked on the tier list with Cozy, I kind of went back and looked through some of those old videos. And DSA was not something that I was familiar with. But it seems like it is maybe coming to the end of its life cycle. So something that maybe doesn't have as much content. And so as far as a content creation standpoint, it becomes tough at that point to not like recycle build stuff. Old videos are their early days. Yeah, and I always find it interesting. Whenever I like meet a content creator, I always like to go back to some of the really early stuff because I don't think I've seen anybody that puts one up that it's just like spot on, like it just crushes it. I think the biggest thing is that if you have an itch to do content creation, is that you jump in there and you start doing it, because you can't learn it. It's not going to be perfect. You can't learn it without being in there and kind of involving yourself in those different elements. So it's always fun for me to see like the early day videos. So like I know mine on this channel are horrible. And so like the progression is, for some reason, it's a weird interest of mine. So I always like will sort it by like upload date, oldest to newest, to see like that original video, just to kind of see the growth, because a lot of times the growth is phenomenal in a lot of channels. Sissio, I will crush it as a content creator. I think anybody can find their niche. I think it's all about finding kind of what you do well, and really leaning into that. And so if it was something that you wanted to CCO, I'm sure that you could make it happen. No plan full-time content creator, plan to be full-time, create away. Yep. It starts as like a little passion project. And then I think it kind of evolves from there. And a lot of times from what I've seen, it can snowball, and then all of a sudden you're there and you don't realize it. And so, yeah, I think for anybody that has ever considered content creation, if it's something you're interested in and you have a little bit of time, you might as well dabble in it. It may not end up being something for you. It's definitely not for everybody, but you won't know unless you try. Fatso, why don't they release more cards faster? Everybody plays the same decks later on. So that, I don't know how long you've been around, Fatso, but that feeds into kind of like, there was a pretty big issue with how they were going to release cards. It was the Nexus events, and it turned out that they were really heavy on you had to pay a lot of money to be able to get those cards, and it was going to be something like $600 to get the guaranteed card each time, and so there was a lot of backlash about it, and so then they completely did a 180. 360, 180. They went completely backwards. They took back the Nexus events. They realized that that was not the way to keep a player base and keep the player base happy, and it wasn't the direction they wanted the game to go in, which is a decision I greatly respect. That's a hard decision. They spent all of this time kind of developing and going along this path, only to have it completely kind of crushed, and they had to start over from scratch. And so right now they're still in that middle ground of trying to figure out what that next implementation system is. And so we don't have it yet. Eventually they want to add at least, they said, at one point they said 1 card per week, and then they kind of moved it to 1 card every other week, or every 1 to 2 weeks. And so I think over time we are going to see more cards in the mix, but as of right now, it's still a little bit tough. So I think we play our Iron Man. I think we go for the win in Nova Roma. I don't think it matters too much which one. We have the same power split between these two. So I think we just push for our Iron Man here. Next turn we can go with something like a Blue Marvel and a Misty Knight, or a Blue Marvel and an Iron Man. That should give us enough push in our Bishop lane so that we should be fine. And then Alexander, you said the air alarm woke me up again. The air alarm. Did I miss it last time? I'm not sure what air alarm you're talking about. But I'm glad that you were able to jump in and join us. I know that sometimes during our normal live stream, you're at work and it's a little bit harder to jump in. And so I'm glad you're able to jump in and hang out with us for a little bit, Alexander. So let's go with Blue Marvel, and then we'll also go with, at this point it doesn't matter which one we go with, because this will be the final turn. We could go with any of them besides Hawkeye, and it'd just be just as good. Bomb alarms. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha, Alexander. I hope that everything is air alarm equal rocket danger. Gotcha. I know that you were in a pretty iffy spot for a while back, and I didn't realize that you were still kind of in that area. So I hope that everything goes well. We will make sure that we continue to check in. If we don't hear from you for a while, we'll make sure to continue kind of reaching out. Oh, I think their White Tiger actually trumps us there. We don't have enough power push and kiln, actually. We didn't anticipate the White Tiger well enough. We probably should have not stacked so much power into Nova Roma, in retrospect, because we end up losing because of it. You just got your collection level 1K today, so that's the point where you transition into the collector's reserves, right? So 1,000 is huge. You have a pretty big base of cards. You can build a lot of the like really strong decks at the time. And then you're gonna start unlocking some really strong combo pieces pretty soon. And so I think you're at a pretty good spot. 1,000 is a pretty nice spot to be in. And then Albert, I'm glad that you were able to jump in and join us today, Albert. And then Laser Gazer, quick question: what's up with Yondu? I've heard some say he's super strong, disruption/intel tool, and others say that he's useless. But how can he be useless if he destroys the top card of a deck? So there's a couple of stances on Yondu, and I don't think either one is wrong. I think he's a completely fine card to run. Where I kind of have either gripes or issues with him is a lot of times you gain the exact same information that the opponent does. And so the card that gets destroyed. So if I'm running a Patriot deck and I know that I need Patriot or I need Ultron or I need a specific card to make that combo happen, I know what I have in my hand already. And so seeing the card that was pulled is less impactful for the opponent, or it gives them less information than it gives the opponent, the person that played it, less information than it does me, because I know what got discarded. If it's my combo piece, then I know that I probably need to leave, and so you're not going to gain any additional cubes out of me. If it hits one that is not a combo piece, I know that I'm much more likely to gain my combo piece by the end of the game. So for me, it's in a weird spot. I like it. I like the destruction tool, but typically I only use it whenever I'm running a full like discard or steal your stuff style deck. That way I'm pulling multiple things. So running the Yondu, the Mantis, the Cable, things that are intended to steal the majority of the resources. At that point, it really amplifies that potential or that power potential for him. And then yeah, Iceman or Korg offers more disruption. It's harder to see, which is where I struggled to accept it for a little while. It's harder to see because you may not ever know what card got hit with Iceman. But as people start playing a really curved out deck that is wanting to use their energy efficiently and Iceman can can make or break that game and that play line. So if my Professor X gets hit and it becomes a 6-cost card, he's now useless. So just dropping Iceman on 1 could turn one of my cards absolutely useless for me, where I don't have any way to use him or utilize him in that game. So Iceman and Korg getting a dead draw it always feels bad, and so it's another one that you won't know that impact happened, but it is very, very strong when it does. Yeah, and then the game does get it does get tougher in Pool 3, especially when you're early on and you're going against people that may have a much deeper collection, a Pool 3 collection than you do, and you're trying to find a way to make it work anyways. And so you have to get kind of scrappy whenever you're first getting into Pool 3. Either that or you take a beating as you complete your weekly missions for a couple of weeks until you kind of gain some additional cards. That way you can build some of those stronger decks at that point. Yep, and then we did pull armor. We are unlocking a couple of cards. Our goal card is to get Blade somewhere here. Blade would give us a lot of kind of flexibility. We could add in Strong Guy, which is going to give us an alternative power push. If we don't draw into our Angela early and we can't buff her up, Strong Guy is a good card to drop late game if we can guarantee that his trigger goes off. I have thought about the dream situation of playing a Widowmaker into the shuffle and then draw 3 locations and they draw the Widow's Bite first. Wodar, that's the dream. That's the dream kind of like layout of if it happens. And then I haven't personally played it, but I've had it played against me of where I drop something like a Cable or a Mantis where it's going to draw the opponent's cards, but they flip first and they played a Widow, and so then I no longer get the upside, and it's very alarming whenever it does happen, because at first you're like, why didn't my Cable go off? Why didn't my Mantis draw a card? And it's almost always because of the Widow, and when it happens, it hurts. It hurts when it does happen. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's humbling for sure. I still think there's no 1 cost which can beat Sunspot. Sunspot is very flexible. I think sometimes he's leaned on a little bit too much. He's flexible. He can be decent in a lot of decks. He offers a lot of like control style components, so being able to push him into a Professor X lane or a Storm lane. But as far as he goes and having the counters to him, I think Korg and Iceman are up there along those kind of top slots. I don't think they're quite as flexible as him, but I do think they deserve a seat at the table anyways. No, he's good in every deck. He's not perfect in every deck. If your deck curves well enough and you have several like good 1-cost cards into 2, into 3, Sunspot loses his value, because if you're using the maximum amount of energy each turn, which means that you drew into the perfect curve, you built your deck really, really well, Sunspot usually won't get too big over time. And so I like him. He's a kind of a failsafe. If you get beat by a Professor X, he makes it where they can't lock down that lane. You can always skip and gain additional power. If they lock down that lane with something like debris and you just kind of get clogged, or a world ship happened, he offers a flexibility that most other cards don't. And so here I think we're going to push into the Peak and Nidavellir. Nidavellir is huge if you can draw into your Iron Man, because all of those +5 power bonuses to each of those cards are going to be doubled. And so it offers a pretty big power push if the opponent doesn't anticipate it and they can't counter it. The Peak into Iron Man is a snap. So Mr. Derek Bot could have Iron Man, but we'll see. We may not push too much power into. So now we have Iron Man as well. I almost think it's worthwhile to cap out the Peak location. That way we can drop Iron Man on 5 into whatever we draw into on 6. What other large cost cards would we have? Khazar. Khazar would kind of clog our board a little bit. Other than that, it's like 1 cost and Bishop. I think we play Blue Marvel early, but I think we're okay playing it in Kunlun. It's going to buff up all of these cards. We're going to have a 1 cost we can play in Peak by the end of the game, and this way it pushes a little bit of power across the board. Laser Gazer, in your honest opinion, how long will it take a free-to-play account to unlock the different card pools? If you're playing and getting consistently doing your weekly missions and you're getting to the end of the season passes, even if you don't buy them, Yeah, I'd say 3 months if you're like spot on every time and you're getting high ranks each time. So if you're getting close to 80, 90 each season to get those additional credits, at that point, I think it's 3. If you slack a little bit, you don't quite hit it every time, I think it'd be closer to 5. Is Mr. Fantastic good or not? He's a card that is pretty good early, but late game he kind of falls flat for me. So for Mr. Fantastic, if you look at it in terms of like all of your 3-cost cards, we have Thor, which can end up being 100 power if you have him built in a particular deck. But most of the time, he's going to be a solid 10 power card. We have Maximus, that comes in at 7 power. Mr. Fantastic offers a 6 power push across the board, and so he starts getting trumped as you unlock some of these other 3-cost opportunities. He still has his place in several decks, but I'd say that Mr. Fantastic is not that flexible. He's just okay. I don't think you ever go wrong, or he just like destroys or ruins a deck by having him in there, but I don't think he makes the deck either. Then Omega Red needs Mystique and Onslaught to make his impact known, or like really prevalent. I'd agree. Having the Onslaught and Mystique really amplifies his ability to make it go from 4, which is really underwhelming for having to win the lane by 10, to pushing 8 or 16 power into the other lanes, which at that point becomes pretty formidable. Wodar, I wish I had Thor. What collection rank are you, or collection log level are you, Wodar? Hopefully you get him soon. I know that he's added into pool 2, and so hopefully you unlock him pretty quickly. Rocky Road, so I'm in pool 3. You didn't realize that you started pulling pool 3 cards? I've done that before, Rocky Road. On my last free-to-play account, I bumped straight into pool 2 without even realizing it. Like, I was just doing upgrades and unlocking cards, and then all of a sudden I pulled like an Iceman or an Agent 13, and I was taken by surprise. Can Mystique copy the info? No, it doesn't have an ongoing. So Mystique only copies ongoing abilities. So let's go ahead and play our Org, and I didn't realize it. I wasn't aware which cards were in which pool. And you're fine, Rocky Road. Feel free to ask any questions. There's no bad questions, because one that you ask, somebody else may have been thinking, but just maybe didn't ask. So if it's something you're curious about, don't feel bad for asking. I've asked my fair share of questions that were kind of head scratchers for some people, but for me, I didn't know, and so it was really helpful to hear it laid out whenever they did. So with Elysium, we get a pretty big power push where we can kind of push our Thor's in pool 3, not pool 2. Wodar, yeah, he's in pool 3. I didn't realize what collection rank you were. So I didn't know if you were already pulling pool 3 cards or not. So I think we play our Bishop. That is going to allow us to start pushing the rest of our cards. We have all of our kind of big in-game cards, and with Elysium, we'll be able to drop them all onto the board. It reduces all of our 1-cost cards down to 0. We're going to be able to push a lot of power onto the board pretty easily as we draw into them. I don't think we have any issues getting rid of our hand here. Oh, I said he was pool 2. My bad. Yeah, he is pool 3. So each of the season pass cards, when they get released into the game, at least right now, they're getting put straight into pool 3. So that anybody that's around there can start pulling them. You're at rank 1,354, so you should be in pool 3, Wodar. Oh, you're in pool 3. Okay, sorry, I'm caught up now. You're in pool 3, but I made the mistake of saying he was in pool 2. So I appreciate the correction. Not that you couldn't unlock him because you're only in pool 2, but yeah, that you're just correcting it. So I'm caught up. We're on the same page now, Wodar. I appreciate your patience as it took me a little while to get there. I'm gonna blame it on late game or late night gaming vibes. That's what we're gonna push it on. Toby, hey TLSG, I forget if there are any ongoing answers in pool 1. Is that why this deck is good? This deck is good because in pool 1 there's not a 1 cost answer. So even if our Blue Marvel or our Khazar gets countered, and so I think Enchantress is pool 1. But the biggest thing is that we don't have the threat of a Khazar to completely destroy our board, and so we can play our 1 cost cards. At most they're going to destroy 1 with an Electra, but I mean that's not really gonna swing us in that's not going to lose us the game. And so this deck is strong early on because it doesn't really have any strong answers to the amount of power it can push. So even without like our buffs, our Bishop gets large. Whenever we get a Blade, our strong guy will get really large as well. And then we have Iron Man for a big late game power push. We have Angela that has the potential to get between 7 and 9 power. There's just a lot of options in this deck list, and with a low curve, it's consistent. So it pushes the same amount of power just about every single game. It's not really draw reliant. You can draw into your cards in any order, and for the most part, be just fine. And then Sissio, Mr. Positive Late Night Streamer. We are all about the positivity and the positive vibes. And so whether it be a little past midnight my time, or early in the day whenever we're jumping in for a lunch live stream, the vibes and the feel is always a positive one. Albert, what was broken? What combo were you talking about that was broken? A squirrel inside of a Hulkbuster, armor. I've seen some pretty buff squirrels. With Patriot, squirrels can get pretty scary. They're very swole. They've been working out. They have not skipped leg, chest, back, thighs, arms any days. They don't sleep. They just lift. So I think we do Angela, we do Khazar. We save our 0 cost 1 power card. Actually, let's do our Hawkeye first. We'll be able to push up a card here and probably here as well for that late game finish. Avalon, how much are the cube gains today? So I actually took the counter off because we're in a free-to-play account. Pretty much every game is going to be a win. There's not very many games that we lose. I think we've dropped 1 game so far. Otherwise, it's all wins. And so I didn't feel like... oh, that was the final turn. Oh, that's awful. I could have dropped Misty Knight. If we lose, we deserve to lose. But we lost 1. I didn't feel like with a free-to-play account, we're going against mainly bots. I didn't feel like it would be very impactful to write that this is our 208th cube that we've gained. We started at rank 14 or 15, and we're up to 90, so about 40 cube gains so far. We can keep an eye on it just from the rank in general. Tritty, you've been playing the Asgardians of the Galaxy deck so far. I really enjoy the niche use of Wong into an on reveal card into the Arnim Zola, which will destroy both of them. I don't know. Whenever that combo pulls off, I just I feel like the biggest brain. It's just I don't know. It's probably not as good, but when it pulls off, it does feel really good. Uno Mas workout for the squirrel. So Bifrost is going to move all the cards over 1 to the right. So I think we stack some power in the ruins. That way it pushes into Xandar for the +1 power bonus once everything is kind of said and done and in its place. What's the best website out there that has updates constantly, that has information about the game, that also has deck builds? So the 2 that I can think of are Snap.fan and Marvel Snap Zone. Those both do some different card builds and things like that. I don't know how good they are. I know that there's a meta tier list on Marvel Snap Zone, and I think those you need to take them with a grain of salt because after all, it's just another person's opinion, and so you need to take is it Snap.fan that has the meta tier list? I know some people use it and reference it. I use it very, very rarely for just kind of an idea. So like seeing that 0 decks are good. At that point, I can either start trying to counter those 0 decks that we're going to start seeing, or try to build my own. I usually don't use their build specifically. I don't know if it's just, and it's probably just a personal preference. You'd probably be just fine going on there and looking at their builds and trying them out, and then tweaking them if it doesn't feel just right. Is Uatu still meta for now? In pool 1, I think he's okay, especially when you have limited 1-cost cards if you're running the Khazar Zoo, and that's kind of the void that he fills for us. Right now, our only other 1-cost cards are Nova or Quicksilver, which we don't need Quicksilver to be forced into our hand. We have plenty of 1-cost cards to do that job. And so Uatu gives us at least a small potential for an advantage, and so that's where he got added in at. And so we can go ahead and play. We can play Hawkeye. We can play Nightcrawler. As long as we play a card into Xandar next turn, that's where Hawkeye's on reveal will trigger. And so when everything gets pushed over into the Bifrost, we can still play a card here to buff up our Hawkeye. We don't have to worry about this being capped out. And if we did, or if we needed to push additional power, we can always move our Nightcrawler out to push some additional power on the last couple of turns. Laser Gazer, were you by chance a teacher or professor in an earlier life? I wasn't. I used to be in like in an environment that had a lot of turnover as like an HR business partner for a building, and so any like new onboarding, and I went around to a lot of buildings. 90 BPR, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I used to go around to a lot of the other buildings and sites and train the other HR teams because they said I had I didn't think about it at the time, but they said I had like I don't know. They said my approach. I had an approach that was very de-escalating, and so like if it was a tough situation, I was able to kind of navigate it and kind of calm both sides down rather than elevating it. Which I think it's soft skills is what they called it. But no, I wasn't a teacher or a professor. It's just I don't know. I enjoyed thinking analytically about these play lines, and I think it's really fun. I like interacting with you guys. I like coming through and like seeing the chats because these are all questions that I've had at some point and either had to kind of go out and play to find the answers or found them some way, shape, or form. And so I like being able to kind of help kind of give those lessons because I've played countless hours of this game, and so being able to help in any small way it seems really rewarding to me. Why not replace Misty Knight with Yondu? I don't have him. I don't have Yondu just yet, I don't think. I'll look. If we just pulled him, we may have just pulled him actually. I'll look after this game. If we have Yondu, then Misty Knight would be, I guess, decent with the Yondu. But it goes back to the conversation. We don't know exactly how good Yondu's power push is. Overall, it's okay, but it usually gives the opponent more information than it does us. But since it's bots, it really doesn't do much either way. Iron Man and Onslaughts are usually the start. Onslaught for Iron Man on an Onslaught Citadel location for what an Omega deck. Oh, for the over 6,000, yeah. Whenever you have an Onslaught Citadel and you have Onslaught on top of it, it gets really nutty really fast. Especially if you have also a Mystique that copies Onslaught, it gets really nuts really fast. You are analytical for real. Yeah, so my current day job is a data analyst, and so like this game kind of like flows straight into that, like, I don't know, that kind of path of what I do at work is looking at data. Not effing cute channel. Thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. But it kind of flows into like the same thought process and the same kind of skills that I use during my day job. I just do it in something I enjoy. Like I enjoy playing and like thinking through those play lines. Not that I don't enjoy my job. I just I do this for fun. So obviously I enjoy it a little bit more. Graham Hudson. Yes, it is a late night stream. We are Mr. Late Night Streamer. We are Mr. Up All Night. So I finished my video and I had a little bit more gas in the tank, and so I wanted to play around on a new account and just kind of play out some new different builds and things like that, especially into like pool 2. And so I figured if I'm going to be playing it anyways, I might as well stream, answer some questions, and just have some excitement. Just be able to get some additional stream time with you guys and answer any new player questions that come in. And playing in the earlier pools are a little bit easier to navigate than running an Ultron deck where you have to like really thoroughly think through each of your plays. And so it felt like a good decision, and I'm glad I did. And so we don't have Yondu. We don't have Yondu just yet. We have Angel, Quicksilver, and Nova. We don't really get much upside out of them. And so Misty Knight, sometimes she'll get played into Washington DC and get a little bit of an extra bonus. So that's why we have Misty Knight over the other ones that we currently have. Mr. All Night Streamer. I don't know, Harry, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I don't know about all night, but we'll stream for a little while. Right now I'm still pretty amped up. Coming off of global launch, I don't know. Global launch was insane. I don't know that I had any expectations in mind, but even though I didn't have any expectations in mind, they still got blown out of the water. It was just, I don't know. You guys and you, all of the support that we've gotten, all of the kind of the positive vibes and the continued growth and support is phenomenal. And I can't thank you guys enough. And so two, I'm still like really jazzed up about global launch and just creating content. I'm really excited about the future of the game and what it has in store. Ferdinand Stam waking up with a TLSG stream. What a way to start the day. Thank you for jumping in and joining us. I hope that you're having a great day. So, well, I guess it's you just woke up. So I hope that your morning has started off well. I hope that you're able to get some breakfast and get a good start to the day. Start it with a little bit of positivity your way. And then Shayla, it's noon for you. Yeah, it's 12:30 a.m. for me. So it's getting pretty late. I still have probably, I don't know, maybe another hour and a half in me. We'll see. Whenever I start kind of winding down and feeling a bit tired, that's when we'll think about calling it. But at least for now, we're feeling pretty strong. Let's go ahead and play our Iron Fist. That's going to let us buff up our Angela one additional time, and then Nightcrawler is going to be able to eventually move out as well, allowing us to buff up our Angela one additional time there as well. And it lets us put Uwadu into Danger Room without the fear of it getting destroyed. We don't have that potential 25% chance of destruction, and so we have a pretty decent decent play path. The game hit #1 on Apple and Google Play Store today. Yeah, so it was like 1 million plus downloads on the Google Play Store, which is insane. There's just been so much like adoption of the game, and I think the advertising has been done in a really, really like smart and well done way. That it was subtle at first, and then I think they absolutely blew it out of the water on launch. Sissio, it's 2:30 a.m. there for you. Yeah, so you're a couple hours ahead of us, and so I appreciate you hanging in there. 2:30 a.m. You are a madman. I appreciate the support. Isn't it better to push Khazar? Probably. It's probably better to push Khazar, but that way we can continue to get as many upside bonuses from Weir Island. We wanted to cap this one out, or almost cap it out, pretty early. We can always move our Nightcrawler, which is going to offer a like 6 or 7 power bonus by the end of the game. And so, I don't know. I think for me, having the extra spot, having the extra card over here, having the push already done a turn earlier, felt like a little bit more benefit than waiting an additional turn. Jose, getting over a breakup, and this is helping. Thank you. I'm so sorry to hear that, Jose. Well, the first part I'm sorry to hear about. The second part, I'm glad that it is helping, at least in some way, shape, or form. And then I think, not that any words can make it better, but time does heal most wounds, and so it will get easier over time. So just make sure that you keep hanging in there. So I think we move our Nightcrawler over. He's going to be a pretty decent push here. He will complete our Ant-Man. That will push this lane up even further. Then I think we just drop our Misty Knight. I don't think we even necessarily push for the Danger Room. And actually, honestly, we don't necessarily need Misty Knight here. We already have an insane amount of power. There's no way that they destroy it. Let's go ahead and push Misty Knight naturally into Danger Room. If she gets destroyed, that's okay. If not, then I think we're set in Weir Island anyways, even without the 6 power that we're pushing that way. Yeah, Marvel Snap sponsored a lot of different card game creators and Samuel L. Jackson. And the Mooniverse, whatever the one was that was done where they gave Bessie tenure, and there was an ad from a creator where he basically put Marvel Snap, but it was in the context of like cows and cheddar cubes and all kinds of obscure just nonsense. And it was from the point of like, that's what it sounds like whenever you complain like to your significant others why you're mad about a card game. But it was really, yeah, Pro ZD. I keep forgetting that. Thank you, Q, for the plug for him. It was really well done. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. It was hilarious. I've watched that one and the Samuel L. Jackson ads more times than I care to admit. Let's go ahead and we're gonna skip a turn. We're gonna play our Angela first. I almost want to rush the raft location, but the bot's not gonna rush it typically. And so if it was a human player, maybe we have to worry about it. Naga, thank you so much for subscribing. And then Sean Allenby, I don't think I caught your call out either. And then Big Stupid Grin and Vaughn Ryan, thank you all so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope that you enjoy the content, and I hope that you enjoy your stay. I appreciate you guys being here. And so Scar's gonna pull one of our cards next turn. I guess all the subs came through all at once. Thank you guys all so much for the support. Let's play the Angela into the raft location. No matter what it pulls over here, hopefully our Blue Marvel, but most likely it'll be a 1-cost card. After that, we just start flooding and filling up the raft location. The Pro ZD and Nick Fury ads were good. Yeah, they were phenomenal. And I think they created a lot of good buzz because it wasn't like, here's our game, it's super serious, you need to do this. It's kind of the angle that they want to approach it as is, it's kind of the angle that they want to approach it as in, it's an easy to pick up game. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It can get really, really complex, but it doesn't, you can pick it up, you can play for 3 minutes, and you can put it down. And so I think those ads did a pretty decent job of kind of making it fun, at least in context of like the game and just the lightheartedness that makes a lot of people interested in trying it out. And then after they get in, the gameplay speaks for itself. And then I think from there, it's history. And then Harry, the raft is a very good location for this deck. I agree. I would have liked to have our Nightcrawler here. That way we could always move it out and push different power there if we need to. But I think overall, it's a phenomenal location for this deck because we can almost always make sure that we get the free 6-cost card by turn 3 or turn 4. And then RAR3 BR33DZ. I'm not sure how to read it, but you said, howdy, TLSG. You make the best snap videos, bud. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm so glad that you are enjoying the content and that you are able to join us for the live stream. I appreciate all of the support that you guys have given, and all the feedback has been absolutely phenomenal. So I'm really glad that you're enjoying it. I still feel like I'm just a guy that decided to upload his first video, and then now all of a sudden we're getting a decent amount of growth and viewership, but it still feels like whenever I upload a video, it's just gonna sit around 5 or 10 views. So it's like a little surprise every time. It's very, very surreal, and I can't it's phenomenal. I'm blown away by just all of your generosity and just the help that I've had along the way. We have some amazing members in the Discord that help us along every step of the way. We have just the best support team, the best community that I think I've ever seen on YouTube. Very very much not a negative environment at all. And so let's go ahead and stack our power in the right lane. We're gonna go ahead and snap back. I think we've been too loosely snapping for the boss that we're going up against. We're still rank 40, so once we hit rank 40, we can expect to start matching up against a few more humans. But until then, the matches are usually pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And then 90 BPR. It's amazing how complex the game is if you compare it to how simple cards work individually. It is. So like you hear the raft, you fill up the location, you get power. But then you start thinking of like counterplays and like the best way to get the most advantage over your opponent, and it can get really complex really quickly. And the same thing with like card combos. Whenever I first heard that the deck size was 12, I was like, there's no way that's gonna get old really fast, because you're gonna be playing the same cards every single game. It's gonna get stale. But then I got in, I experienced it, and it has not felt stale. Maybe whenever we were in the Mr. Negative meta where that was everybody's deck and there was like nothing you could do about it, maybe at that point it felt just a little bit stale, but that's because we didn't have a patch for almost 2 months. And so besides that, I haven't felt like I was just kind of grinding at any point. It's always continued to keep that fresh feeling for me. Just a community and the bots spamming date sites. Yeah, so that's why I set the chat to subscriber only, because it seems to keep it seems to keep the bots spamming the dating sites at bay. And so I don't want it to be a ploy to get more people to subscribe. I want it to be a ploy to make sure that we don't have the best singles now, like all those spam bots that come in almost every 15-20 minutes. And since we've set it to this, I don't think we've seen one once, even when we did the 9-hour live stream on launch day. And so that's the reason we have it set like that. And then Alexander, our community is the best. Thank you for creating it, TLSG. And guys, I don't know what I did to deserve such a solid and supportive community. Because I go back and look at my original videos, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know how anyone watched this. It was a lot of dead space, a lot like I talked really like soft, and I didn't even realize I did it, or like I don't know like what point it changed. But I looked back at like the older ones versus now, and it's like night and day. And so it's really strange to go back and look at it and see. I think we want to go with an Iron Fist into a Bishop play to push our Bishop from Olympia into Crimson Cosmos. We're going to need as much power as possible over there. The only thing that we can push over there, I mean, I guess we can push our Khazar and our Iron Man. Maybe we don't need to worry about it, at least not necessarily just yet. So maybe we just play our Bishop into Vault. We kind of lean in on the Vault and Olympia, and we kind of look at it and go from there. But I think we do drop an Angela and an Iron Fist. That gives us the option to potentially push over into Crimson Cosmos if we want to. How do you get the screen with all the heroes on it? Which one, Lethal Protector? The one that I use for the thumbnail? If so, I don't remember. I got it on launch day, and so I don't know if it was one of the assets. What have changed? You're still no. I'm still wholesome. I still feel wholesome. I still feel like completely authentic. But what I meant by what changed was like there was a lot of dead space, and at least for like just the overall like feel and flow of the videos, that's what's changed. Not that like me or my personality has changed necessarily. Debrum, you said time to watch them. Time to watch who? I may have missed a couple. Moon Lancelot, I really like your videos. The explanations of each deck you show is very educational and helpful. Thank you so much, Moon Lancelot. I really do appreciate it. It helps keep me motivated to continue pushing and making new content whenever I hear those things. Because if I didn't ever hear those and it felt like it was maybe going and it just didn't have the impact that we would want, at that point it's a little bit harder to continue to create. And so those things always keep us motivated and keep us on the grind. And Ferdinand, during your Agatha video, I asked about replacing Taskmaster with that deck. Last night I actually unlocked that card, so you're going back to try the deck again. Huge. Taskmaster in that deck I think is a pretty strong one. It enables you to do a lot of different kind of play paths to get that big power push. So I think you'll have a lot different results this time around. It's Wongsome. I'm guessing your deck list, perhaps. Got him. The Star-Lord is the best voice line in the game. It's like you can hear it 10 times, 100 times. Although I do like Mjolnir to me. That one, I don't know. It never feels old whenever it just continues to scream at me. Mjolnir to me. So I think it gives Star-Lord a run for its money for sure. Jeremiah, good TLSG is still streaming. Yeah, we are still going strong. We're over 100 viewers, and it's outside of our normal time slot. We're playing on a brand new free-to-play account, and so the stream's been going pretty well. There's been a lot of good questions, a lot of good kind of chat back and forth, which is what I wanted. That was the goal of of this stream was to be able to kind of interact with you guys. We've almost gained 10 ranks so far in around an hour and 40 minutes, and so definitely easy to gain some of those cubes. And yeah, Jeremiah, that's why I took away the number of cubes gained text above, because it was just going to be insane. It was going to be 100, 150, 200, and it felt like it would be a humble brag at that point, and so we took it away for now. Don't use the hammer skin, Mr. Wongsome. I'm not going to use. We have new players. I don't want to scare anybody off because it is truly a terrifying experience. I don't want to do that to you guys. We're not going to do it. Vaughn, Death Skyper. I still play negative deck from time to time. He's still good. Thank you, Pirasok, for the subscription. And then the second one, I'm sorry, I don't know how to read it, but I appreciate the subscription nonetheless. It is very, very much appreciated. And so I'm really on the fence about this, so sorry for the spam. No, Laser, you are absolutely fine. That is part of the reason I wanted to go live, was that I'm playing a pretty straightforward deck that doesn't require me to like invest a lot of like time into like thinking about the play lines. And so I wanted to be able to have some good chat back and forth for kind of a forum for anybody that has questions, as a way for me to answer them. So don't feel sorry about like spamming any questions or feel like you're bothering me, because that's exactly what I wanted to come of this, was a place to answer those questions while we had a little bit of time. And so you said thoughts on Onslaught, Mr. Fantastic, Captain America, and Chavez for this deck. I think with those, your curve starts getting a little bit higher. I think Onslaught can be pretty decent. Same thing with Mr. Fantastic and Captain America. So it gives you kind of some secondary pushes, but I think it evolves away from the Khazar Zoo, which is meant to be really consistent. You can draw your cards in any order, and you're almost always going to be able to play all of them onto the board. I think in certain shells, the Onslaught could be pretty cool, but you have to. I think, since I haven't ran that particular one, I would say that you play it a couple times, see if it feels like your hand gets bogged down at any point. If you end up drawing to cards that are too expensive at any point in time, at that point I say you start reducing your curve. Because the biggest draw of the zoo is that you can play your cards no matter what order you draw them in, and you'll do fine. And so with that, I think test it out. I do think the Mr. Fantastic, the Captain America with the Onslaught could be a good way to push additional power from your Blue Marvel, from your Khazar. But looking at the curve is going to be important there as well. Big D 3395. I only started playing on launch, so there's a lot I still need to see, but I was able to play Galactus for the first time today, and man, what a cool but risky card. Galactus, that animation is next level. And then Oda, you said you have to head to bed. Oda, I appreciate you jumping in and hanging out for a while. It has been really good to just kind of have some back and forth chat, and I'm glad that you were able to jump in and join us for at least the little while you were able to. It is very much appreciated. So since we have Iron Man and Sakaar, I think we play Blue Marvel to the left. We will probably end up doing something like Korg over there on 6, unless we draw into some other better play line. Sammy Samurai King, hey, how's it going? I'm glad you're able to jump in and join us. Same thing with you, Zombie Lemon. I'm glad you were able to jump in and join us. It is a strange stream time for us. It is not a typical one. I finished my video for tomorrow's upload. I finished recording and editing the bulk of it. I still have just a tiny bit left, but I still wanted to play Snap, and so I was going to end up playing it on the side anyways, and so I figured I might as well stream while I'm doing it. And so I think we do something. Actually, no. Let's play our 1 power Angela. Maybe we don't play our 1 power Angela. It's not gonna compete for Crimson Cosmos. And then Rad, thank you so much. It is so rad of you to join us as a subscriber. I appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy your stay here, and I hope you enjoy the content. Let's go ahead and lock this one in. I don't think we think too hard about it. I think we just let it go. This is your time, honestly, which is good. I also wanted to reach a different time zone. So I know that at 10:30 a.m. my time is like 2 a.m. some other people's time, and so it just didn't feel like it was as advantageous for everyone. So I felt like doing a different time slot would be good to kind of hit a different viewer base that also wants to jump in the lives from time to time. And then Indy, what time is it for you there? It is almost 1 a.m. here. Do you have premium on this account, or Sissio mom pick me up? Hammer scares me. Yo, Zombie Lemon, thank you so much for the super sticker. I think is what they're called. The super sticker with the good luck. I appreciate it. I appreciate the $10 support. It is phenomenal. I may need to stream during your time more often. The 12-hour difference is, or like the big super stickers. Thank you. I appreciate the support. It's huge. I'm so glad that I'm able to catch you and you're able to jump in for a live, because I know that during the other ones it's pretty, I guess, late but also early. It's in the middle of the night your time. That live stream guy, that's good. So I'm guessing somebody explained what TLSG kind of stood for. Don't use the hammer skin. I missed something, and I was looking for a chat that caught my eye, but I can't seem to find it. So I may just have to jump ahead. Are you getting tired? That live stream guy. That's what it was. That's the one that caught my eye. Are you getting tired? No. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I probably have another hour or so in me. I don't know why. I'm really amped tonight. So coming off of the global launch, which went incredibly well, and then we went into work mode, which was tough. It was tough to recover after taking a day off when I had a team member that was out. But the launch stream went so incredibly well, and I'm still buzzing about it. And so I think that kind of feeds into right now. Like, I'm really excited to be able to live stream because I had so much fun on launch day to stream, that it's something that I really enjoy doing. And so I think I'm amped up because we're able to stream outside of what, like, our normal, hour constricted time zone. Work sucks. Work sucks. I get it. It does. I mean, it's not. I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to have the job and have the opportunity that I do have, because it does afford me the ability to work from home, to be able to do our lunch live streams. It could be a lot worse. I could be working like really long 60-hour days. I have generous time off. I have decent hours, and working from home is a benefit. But that being said, it's more fun to stream, and it's more fun to play Marvel Snap. And so, not that I dislike the job. It's just not a video game, It's not the same feeling, but it is adulting. Do your work colleagues ever make fun of you for streaming during lunch? No, I know. I work from home. The only ones that make fun of me here are the puppies. And I'm completely fine with being made fun of by the dogs. And so no, I actually, to kind of dive into that a little bit more, I don't think any of my coworkers know that I stream, or that I make content, or that I even play this game. So it's one of those that I haven't told them, they haven't asked. It's like a don't ask, don't tell type of thing. And so I'm curious what would happen the day that somebody like just happens to organically find out, and they're like, "Hey, you've been putting videos out during lunchtime and maybe going an hour and 20 minutes instead of an hour. What's up with that?" And so right now, it's a don't ask, don't tell type of situation. We'll cross that bridge whenever we get to it. So we win this one pretty heavily. I think we move our Nightcrawler out. We go ahead and play Khazar. That might give us a win condition in the Savage Land, or actually, no, it should. Unless they have like a blue Marvel, and then it would rival our power buff. Iron Man may be the safer play to be able to work off of the blue Marvel and the Khazar. But I think we're okay. Von Ryan, just for fun question, if there's a Snap YouTube/Twitch streamer tournament, who do you not want to face in the first round? That's a tough one. So we have quite a few good players. I'm going to go ahead and lock this in. I think the better play line is Iron Man into a T-Lin location, just because we already have this one locked down. So why are we gambling on the far right lane? but I'm gonna go with the Khazar instead so that we can try to win the Savage Land location. Jose, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. And then who would you not want to face in the first round? I don't know. I've gone up against Jeff quite a bit. He is a good deck builder. He does a lot of mid-range stuff. And so like some of the times he wins, some of the times he loses. I don't think it has been any like, I think it's pretty even. And most of the time I face him on Sulky Hulky now. Not to say that, you know, it's definitely different context. So he just doesn't play as much, so maybe his MMR isn't quite to ours. I don't know. He does love his mid-range. And so I think that's kind of his wheelhouse. If we can know his wheelhouse, maybe we can get a little bit of an advantage. I think it would be a really good match either way. I don't know. I don't think I would not want to face anybody, because I think it would be such a surreal experience no matter who we went up against. I think it would be fun and enjoyable regardless. And so I don't think, like, even if we lose to somebody, I don't think I'm not the person that's going to be like, this is BS, you don't deserve to win. I think it'd be fun and just a really cool experience overall. And so I don't know. I think it'd be fun just to see all of those in action. But the friendly modes are going to be really fun whenever it does happen. Unsilent Ninja, Hoogland's wheelhouse is combo and mid range for years of seeing his his magic content. Yeah, and not that having a wheelhouse is bad, because he probably can run the best mid range deck out there. I would imagine, because he has so much experience for it. And so he would be a tough one. I think he'd be on the tougher side. But then again, Tolkien takes and steals wins against us all the time. I don't think I've ever matched up against Binks, actually. So I don't know his. I know that his play style is like really combo based for the most part. But in the context of like a competitive scene, I don't know if, you know, at that point he, you know, maybe pivots and maybe surprises everybody with like a really strong, like really meta deck that you wouldn't expect from him. And so I don't know. I think this far it'd be really hard to tell. He was famous in Magic the Gathering for making the Kiki Chord deck, and Magic is one that I wasn't, unfortunately, I haven't ever really gotten into. It's something that I wanted to get into, but I didn't have any friends to play with, which sounds really sad whenever you play it that way. It's really sad. But I didn't have like, I grew up in a small town, and so there wasn't like a comic shop that I could pop over to that I knew people would play. And so at the time, Magic the Gathering Online wasn't a thing. And so it's one of those that I just never ended up getting into. Oh, I thought I played Iron Man last turn. I thought I played Iron Man last turn. I guess I played an Iron Fist. big oof. We're gonna go ahead and stack the rest of our power in Tinker's Workshop, and we should be okay. Soul Stealer, all right, I'm off to bed. Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming in and hanging out, Soul Stealer. I hope that you enjoyed the stream, even if it is on a free-to-play account, a brand new build. I hope that you enjoy your time with us anyways, and I hope that you have a great night and a great sleep. Convince your coworker to play Snap. I don't know. So they're being in data analytics. They're all analytical. So I could see them like really diving in and trying to figure out like the best way to navigate and win this, win games and win cubes. And so I think it could be pretty interesting if they do. But I don't know. I don't know that it's in any of their wheelhouse. I'm kind of the odd duck, on the team. Same, I have tubs full of Magic the Gathering cards I have to go through still. So I played some Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I have not crates, but I have the tin cans, like tin cans upon tin cans of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards from playing, that are just kind of sitting in a box somewhere. So I'm thinking that's probably my Magic the Gathering. I don't know if it wasn't that it just wasn't popular in my area, or if I was young enough that like the people near me kind of went towards Yu-Gi-Oh! Instead, just because of the anime draw. But that's what we ended up playing, at least in my neighborhood, for all of like 3 months before everybody else quit. And then I was just there with all of my cards and no one to play. You'd financially ruin the company if you showed them Snap. See, because then that leads into, oh, maybe I'll look up a guide on YouTube on Snap. Oh, this is TLSG. He looks oddly familiar. Wait, he's doing live streams during lunch and he can't get a good game to win, so then he goes an hour and 20 minutes. Let's question this. Yeah, it's a long slippery road. It's a long slippery road, Laser Gazer. Lethal Protector, you said you love Yu-Gi-Oh! Do you love it in the current state? Because I really enjoyed it in the older state. As of where it's at now, it is so much different than whenever I first started playing, whenever I was younger, that it's tough. It's tough. Laser premium pass for everyone at the company. If they don't rat on us, I'll give them a premium pass for sure. The Lethal Protector, the older state. The older state felt more, I don't even know that it would be strategic is the right word, but it felt, being slower, you had time to really build up and feel like the game was impactful. If I draw into a hand and the opponent summons 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons onto the board on the first turn and they obliterate me before I even move, it's hard to like shake that off and be like, oh well, it happens. And so yeah, it's a hard sell for me at this point. But I think we play our bishop into the kiln. We're gonna be able to do something like, wait, not El Alexander. Yeah, we're not TLSG. This is definitely not TLSG. I couldn't think of another like snazzy nickname like Sulky Hulky, and so we went with not TLSG just for the laugh. We don't talk about Yu-Gi-Oh unless it's paragraphs in T. Oh, paragraphs in really small text. That's for sure. The text length on the cards nowadays are just insane. We don't talk about Yu-Gi-Oh unless Mogwai says it. I still haven't looked it up. Is there a clip somewhere, CCO, of Mogwai? I may need to look at it because I've seen several things that from Mogwai as far as like Legends of Runeterra, and he said something about streaming for a little bit on Snap, which I think would be really cool. I think it'd be really cool to see. But you're not the first person that said the way that he says it is. Did I say Hulky Sulky? I meant Sulky Hulky. Maybe, am I getting tired? Maybe I am getting tired, and I just don't realize it because I'm buzzing because we're live. We can go Blue Marvel over here, but that loses to a Jessica Jones. So instead, we're gonna shoot our shot over here because this would be 3, 4. It would end up being 8 power. They're gonna have 9 power in this location. We might lose this one to Inzing Alo. That may be our nemesis for this account. This is only going to push about 6 power, which feels like a hard retreat. But with a bot, they usually play a suboptimally. They're not going to this time. They're going to absolutely take us to the maker. They're going to make us meet our makers. Could we do a New Year's stream like this? That would be really fun. That tired live guy, TLSG. I don't feel that tired, but I did say, I don't remember saying it. Apparently I said that Thor was in pool 2 instead of pool 3, which is a pretty big difference. Several hundreds of collection levels difference. And so, yeah, I might be. But I do like the idea of a New Year stream. I don't know, because my daughter will be in bed because we're not going to keep her up to midnight because she's too young still. But I do usually spend that time with my son and my wife. So I don't know. It just depends on what's going on. As it gets closer, we'll see. We'll see if a New Year stream is in the works, Sammy. Or maybe we do it like a day after or a couple of days before stream, because I do have time off around that time, and so maybe we can find something that works. It may not be directly on New Year's night or New Year's Day, but I bet we can find some additional time to stream during that time frame. Brito, you said, I love your videos. I haven't ever had a chance to catch you live, but thanks for what you do. Thank you so much for being here and just coming over to show the support. I appreciate it. I wish that I could stream in this time frame more often, but this is usually the time that I'm spending to like, generate the clips for the video for the next day, and it becomes kind of tough to do consistently. And so I completely understand that our normal stream probably isn't within a convenient time frame for you. But I appreciate you being here now, and that's one of the reasons I'm glad I did this like kind of impromptu stream, is that I reach a much different audience than we do during our lunch live streams, and it's fantastic. Then Tritty, you said the floods here in Australia are pretty brutal right now. Your town's underwater. Definitely be safe, and then try to make sure that you're in a good spot and you're not in any kind of danger. So we get Rocket, which is our first one cost upgrade. I think we spend a few more of our credits. Maybe we can get Blade as well. Then we can really make a few tweaks to this deck to make it a little bit more optimal. If we can get Blade, we can add in Strong Guy, and we'll be able to pretty consistently trigger his ability, which is a huge power push onto the board. Rocket is going to be a good replacement for some of our other cards. And so yeah, 1 cost 4 power the majority of the time, and even if not, 1 cost 2 power. I mean, we're running the same thing with FTP account. So yeah, so this is a second FTP account, I guess. So we have Sulky Hulky, and then we have now we have not TLSG that we're going to be able to play on at least for a little bit. I don't know how consistently we do. I want to do a few pool 1 and pool 2 videos, and it doesn't feel as impactful to do them from matches where we're going into pool 3 matches, because then the combos that we're looking out for are not the same ones that a normal pool 2 player would be. And so yeah, this one is with the new players. Yeah, and so I'm wanting to kind of make sure that we cater towards some of the new players that may not know all of the like the Ultron deck is really fun to play and really cool, but I don't think, as far as like our growing like player base, I want to make sure that we welcome them in as well, because we had that warm welcome whenever we started, and I think jumping in and just seeing pool 3 content is a little tough. We're still going to do the majority of our stuff pool 3, but whenever we kind of have some time to stream on the side, I think we do it in terms of maybe doing our free-to-play account a little bit into maybe some pool 3, maybe late, or into some late pool 2. I don't know that we ever dip this one into pool 3 though. So with that, we're going to have a cheap Bishop. We're going to have a cheap Blue Marvel as well that we're going to be able to throw on the board. We get a pretty big upside. The only thing that could have been better is if we had Iron Man in hand, but even then, I think we're still okay. What collector level is Sulky at? Mid 1,000. I think we're close to 1,500. So we're getting close to about halfway through the overall or the entire collection, and so we're getting pretty decently into pool 3 at this point. Why not one called Not Q? That would be funny if we ran up against Not Q and just got obliterated, just got absolutely destroyed. What A is the next match? I'm not sure. Crispy Homestead Bacon. I'm not sure what I'm not sure I understand what the question is. So I think we play Hawkeye onto the board. I think we hide our Blue Marvel behind the Dark Dimension, and then we can just stack a lot of power into our Bishop. Alexandra, dang, I'm trying to do the Destroy Card Challenge. Yeah, so early on in pool 1, it's a little bit tougher, because running like a Carnage or a Deathlock isn't nearly as strong as later on. Oops, that was a mistype. No worries, Crispy Bacon. And so I think maybe you do like a Nova and a Carnage and then stack your power into the other 2 lanes so that you can drop Carnage and destroy your Nova. Either that or you build something that generates a lot of low cost like tokens, so like Squirrel Girl, and then you just get the quest done and then you switch back off of the deck afterwards. I think are a couple of good options that you could have there. So let's do our Korg out in the open. We're going to play Misty Knight into this location. Then we can actually still play... No, we have enough energy. We played enough of our high power cards. I think we hold Iron Fist for now. And then that'll let us play like our blue, not our Blue Marvel, but maybe our Khazar, maybe our Iron Man, depending on where we're at. Oh, I forgot to add in Rocket Raccoon. Thank you, Cicio. I forgot. We didn't get Blade, and I was kind of disappointed, and I forgot to add in our Rocket. So I'm gonna play Nightcrawler. We're gonna hold Iron Fist for. Yeah, we're gonna hold Iron Fist for now because we'll have 7 energy. So even if we draw into Iron Man, we can play both of these on that final turn. We can adjust Nightcrawler's location and kind of maneuver him where it's going to be the most strategic. Blade, the next one for sure. We're getting pretty decently deep into pool 1, and so that hopefully it's soon. That is the hope or the goal. I think we move our Nightcrawler over, and then we stack our Iron Fist here. I think we have a pretty good chance of winning these 2 lanes. We don't know what they have, but we have a Blue Marvel that's hidden in the Dark Dimension. We have Angela that's going to continue to buff up. The peak location could be difficult, but actually no, it's 11. So once Blue Marvel reveals, that's going to be an extra 4 power. Oh, and even if it doesn't, our Bishop continues to buff up. So yeah, should be a pretty straightforward win. Cool Gamer, for me, I use any card and try my luck. I'm winning, and I won 3 times and lost twice. Yeah, Cool Gamer, I am a big supporter of kind of brewing your own decks. So I think when the game felt like the most exciting or the most fresh for me was whenever I was pulling new cards. I was pulling mystery cards, and I was forcing myself to build a deck around that card. Whether I thought it was good, bad, terrible, I tried to build a deck with that card. Sometimes it worked out really well, and it was really surprising. So the first time I saw Red Skull, I was like, this is going to be a really bad card. But then we built it around it, and overall, it felt pretty good. And so that was, I'm a big supporter. I think long story that's already long, but shorter. I'm a big supporter of kind of brewing and building your own list to try out different combos. So I think we take out our Misty Knight here. We add in our Rocket Raccoon. So let's sort by energy. We can then throw in our Rocket. Let me grab an updated deck screenshot so that anybody that jumps in and is new, that they don't have the question of like, why do we see this one instead of what's listed? And then I only have to switch out one of the images. And then Vinny, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope that you're having a great night, and I hope that you are enjoying the content that you've seen so far. And then I appreciate you being here. So let's go ahead and update our OBS really quickly, and then actually we can go ahead and jump in a game while we're updating it. Love your strategy, man. Welcome from Egypt. All the way from Egypt. That's huge, Captain Ahmed. I hope that you're having a great night or day, depending on what time it is for you over there. But I appreciate you being here, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the strategy and the content. That means a lot. So let's go ahead and take out our. Actually, I don't know which card it was listed as. We're updating the slideshow really quickly, so that anyone that pops in that's new. So we're going to take out our Misty Knight, which was 5, and we're going to add. Sorry, guys. We're going to add the new card. We're going to add Rocket Raccoon in there in its place. And that way it'll be included in the slideshow, and then we will update the deck, and then we are good to go until we get our Blade. That is going to be our next big upgrade that we're looking for. Blade is going to make this deck start evolving into a real contender for a lot of power. So once we get Blade, we can start doing our strong guy. We can start kind of elevating that power potential of the list, and just really making it feel solid at that point. The green buff, don't know how to get more. Well, Gamer, I may have missed. You're stuck to 5. I may have missed the context of that first one, or the first part of that question. So if it's addressed towards me, if you'll type it again real quick, I'll be able to answer it. The Burrito, you said you're like halfway through pool 2. And I did that for Sandman and have won quite a few times as long as I draw him. Yeah, Sandman is one of those cards that it feels like if you don't draw him, actually. We messed up a little bit. We dropped Iron Fist, so that's going to push our card over, unfortunately. And so I think we play our Nightcrawler, and then we play Angela. That's going to hurt us a little bit, but I think overall it's going to be fine. But yeah, brewing your own decks it's in this game, it's a lot easier and more accepting than others. So because you only have 12 cards, it's easier to like take a card and build around it. And you take like the core cards that feel good. So like discard, for example, you can look at all of the cards that you feel like are good in a discard list. And then you start building those and you realize you only have like 3 or 4 slots that don't feel like they're, you know, really required for the archetype. And so it's a lot easier to kind of brew and mix and match your own concoctions with only 12 cards. And you can much more easily feel the impact of any kind of text or changes compared to something that's 40 cards long, where it may take you 4, 5, 6 games to even see the card that you changed out to see if it's even worthwhile. The green bubbles with the blue bricks to upgrade the character. Not easy to win battles. Don't want to get discouraged. And so, depending on, and so Cool Gamer, you're running your own brood stuff, right? What is it that you're running right now? I'm wondering if maybe we can help improve it in any way. Crispy, I got jumped by a Mr. Negative deck in pool 2. It was wild. Mr. Negative, whenever you run into it, it is a wild ride for sure. So I think we play our Khazar, we lose Death's Domain outright. I think we do Khazar, Rocket, we move our Nightcrawler over and try to win this location. I don't think we snap back because this is although actually this is a pretty decent power push. We're gonna snap back. And then GOMD, how's it going? I'm glad you were able to jump in and join us. I did see that you commented on our launch live streams with like the 8, almost 9 hour one, and so I appreciate you being here. I hope that you're having a great night so far. Wodar, we're seeing this free to play account. I really miss when we were getting cards every 4 levels. Yeah, it feels entirely different. So to go from really needing to grind out and getting a card like every few days, every week, to getting one every maybe 20 minutes or so, feels really fun. It's exciting. Although you don't get all of the really high impact ones until later on. It still feels fun because then you can, if you're missing a piece, you know that it won't be long before you end up pulling it. And then Withered, you said, I'm not sure if there are a lot of Philippines players. You said hello from Philippines. I'm glad that you're here I'm glad that you were able to make it, Withered. I know that we have a few players from the Philippines in our Discord, but I don't know that there are as many of them as what registered for the game when it went open beta in the Philippines, and people started relocating their location there through like VPNs and stuff like that. But we do have a couple that I've ran into. But I am glad that you're here. And then Novert Fitness, do you know if they have a fix planned for those who are affected by the matchmaking issue? Novert, what matchmaking issue is there? I didn't realize that there was one, and maybe I haven't ran into it. But I'm sure if there is an issue with it, they're working on a patch or a fix. But I just are you not able to match up with or play at all? I think we double our org, maybe even double our angel, because at some point we're going to double the Khazar, which is going to be a really nutty combo. Bro, do you know how often they do the update? Do they update the patch? So Rainbow, it seems like right now they have had a cadence of about once a month. Depending on if they run into any critical issues or errors or not. I think we can expect to see one probably next week, maybe. That's just my gut feeling, is that they've pushed and rolled out launch, and then now maybe some of the other stuff that they've been working on, they release it to kind of keep those new players excited and enticed. So I would think maybe we see one soon, but that's just a gut feeling or a gut guess. The main card for Khazar is Angela, and I'm at 120 and I didn't get it yet. Cap Ahmed, that feels really tough. I know that you'll get it soon because you only have about 20 levels or so left, or you have about 80 levels or so left. But overall, I'm sure that you'll get it soon. I'm hoping that you pull it on your very next card. That way you have the opportunity to run the card in your lists. My gut is saying start a month. It could be maybe not this week, but the following but then we're rolling into a new season in that, or at least it's what, the first Tuesday of the month. Is that right? So would that be the first, or this one's an extended one? And so it could be maybe this week or maybe the following week, just to give players ample time to kind of play and enjoy the game and experience it. So I think we're only going to do one Blue Marvel, and then we're going to multiply our Iron Man on the final turn. I asked in Discord, hopefully someone helps with the list, right? Actually, I think I started to reply to you just before going live. And so I know that we have a lot of people that that are incredibly helpful there. I'm sure that someone will help you, and if not, then I'll take a look at it for you too. And then Revarc. I'm having screen glitches a lot in matches where I have to force close the game. Oh, I didn't realize that. And I've played from my phone some, but I have played from it for a while. So maybe because it's already worked on my device, maybe it's one of those that maybe hasn't been tested as much. I haven't played since the global launch. Says there's an issue with connecting to the matchmaking services. I know that a couple of people asked about that, and you're definitely on the live version, right? Which I'm sure you are. But that was one of the questions that they asked, was making sure that it was fully updated. As an old CCG nerd and a global launch noob with Snap, this game really makes me wish there was a robust in-house playtest instead of the big beta. So much content already. Would have been nice if we all discovered it at the same time. Death to net decking. Yeah, I to an extent I do agree, because like even though it is in global launch, it's not exactly the same. And so like whenever I was progressing cards, like nobody had ran Red Skull decks before. Nobody had ran and created Destroyer decks, and so it was brand new. And so like you see that in a game and you're like, what is this? And so then it's like really cool to experience it firsthand. And I don't think the global launch players are able to get that. And so I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Gitwer. And then Tritty, I want them to add all of these cards they've been showing off. I think that they have to be getting pretty close for a card acquisition system. So I think we should be seeing some pool 4 cards pretty soon. I don't think they would have hinted at it if they weren't at least pretty close to making it happen. Let's go ahead and drop our Korg on turn 1. Next turn we can do Angela, then we can kind of go from there. The crash happened for me too, but tech support told me to reinstall the game, and that worked great. So Captain Allman, I'm glad that worked. Hopefully, and I'm not sure if you tried it novert, but if you haven't tried like a full uninstall and reinstall, maybe give that a shot. Hopefully that fixes it for you. Then Brito, actually I have a question. Is Wave obtainable yet? If you didn't get her in the first season pass. Yeah, Brito, so Wave, Thor, and I believe Daredevil are now attainable through pool 3. So you just pull them like any other pool 3 card. So on Sulky Hulky, I have Wave and I have Thor. I don't have Daredevil yet, but I think he should. So every 2 months they release the next card, and so at the start of next season, Nick Fury should get added in, and then the season after that would be Miles Morales. And so yeah, he should be able to be, or actually no, Wave is able to be obtained right now. So let's go ahead and do our Hawkeye, our Nightcrawler, and our Ant-Man. We'll be able to move Nightcrawler. Actually, no, we'll hold off. We'll play Ant-Man here. We're going to leave a couple of extra spaces here. We want some place to be able to play a card in this lane next turn to buff up our Hawkeye. And then from there, we can move Nightcrawler out if we do end up needing to put additional power in that lane. And then GOMD. Thanos and Galactus are not quite in the game just yet, unfortunately. I know that they've teased them a lot, but they also said that they want it to be like a monumental feeling. They want it to be worthy of, such a like, universal like threat. Somebody that is as strong as Thanos. They want it to have a fitting release. Eldamo, hey TLSG, you're finally streaming while I'm awake watching from Australia. I'm so glad that you're able to catch us. because it's 1:30 a.m. my time, so it's super late. But I'm glad that I was able to jump in, and I'm able to catch an entirely different side of of a viewer base, and so I've been having a really good time with it. So it's something I'm definitely going to try to kind of fit in more often. I don't know how often I'll be able to do it because this is usually my time to record the clips for tomorrow's video. But I was just fortunate enough to get those a little bit faster than some nights that I normally do. And then Jax, hey, oh, what an unexpected stream. What's the occasion? I'm just used to missing them being the middle of the night for me. So I finished up the clips that I needed for tomorrow's video early, and I still had an itch to continue playing Marvel Snap, and I knew that I was going to be playing it just anyways. And so I figured what better way to kind of get some more stream time, kind of get some chatting time, than playing a new account where our new players or anybody that has questions can have a space to ask them, and then we can still get a little bit of playtime in. We could get that Marvel Snap itch taken care of, and we reach a different kind of player base in the process. And then whether it is Pool 4 coming to the game, yeah, it is. We don't know exactly when, but it is coming. They've hinted at a Pool 4 and a Pool 5. We just don't know like the parameters around when that will be. And then Zombie Lemon, the feeling of oh look, TLSG has a new deck, better look out for it. That was phenomenal. Being able to build a deck that like nobody had seen before, and try to find a way to make it feel good and make it feel usable was phenomenal. I get excited about the new card releases because I can do that again. Because then I can build a deck on a completely new card that's just been brewed with, to see if I can build a good deck list like right off the bat with it. And then Sebastian, what is a pool? It's like a rarity, a tier of card. So a pool is just a set range on your collection level. And so I'll pull up our collection track. And so it's just a set range on your collection level at which point you'll pull particular cards. And so for pool 1, you'll always get all of the pool 1s in a random order, of course, but you'll always get all of them by collection level 212. And then starting in, I think, 214, you'll start pulling the second pool, which is just a different grouping of cards. And so you won't be able to pull anything from pool 2 up until you get to collection level 200 and something. So it's just a kind of an order at which you'll unlock the random cards, giving it some kind of consistency in the randomness. And then Sissio, I'm going to sleep. Good night, chat, and Wong some streamer. I hope that you have a great night, Sissio. Thank you for joining us for as long as you have. I hope that you have a fantastic evening, and I hope you sleep well. TLSG is the meta. It's a bittersweet feeling whenever I release a deck and I'm like, this is good, and then I decide to run it a little bit more that next day. It's always fun, but a little bit like bittersweet to lose to my own deck, and knowing that it's like that exact mirror match, and knowing that I'm the reason that it kind of pushed in that direction. It's fun, but it's a strange feeling knowing that something that I pushed was my ultimate downfall. Did you say that Galactus isn't in the game yet? Not to attain. You can't put him in a deck list. You can acquire him from random events or random means. So things like Agent 13 or Nick Fury can create him. And Ariko, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. But you can acquire him from random means, but you can't unlock him to add into a deck. Don't forget to breathe. Akaichu. I always need the reminder. Thank you so much, Kaichu. I hope that you're having a great night, and I appreciate you looking out for me. And then Pilk, the Pilk enjoyer himself, the Goblin King, has graced us with his presence. I'm glad that you're able to join us, Pilk. I know that it's a weird like stream time for us. Hydration check, TLSG. I actually ran out of hydration. I'm out of my drink, and so we're gonna go unhydrated, unfortunately, Q. But Pilk, I know it's outside of our normal stream time, but I'm glad that you're able to jump in and catch us at least for a little while. Is it like your normal work day right now, Pilk? And so we're gonna push to fill up the raft location. If we can get the free 6 cost card, that's gonna do us quite a bit of good. Actually, we're not gonna be able to fill it up, are we? Because of Dream Dimension, we'll have to play over there next turn. If we fill it up, it'll be on turn 6 anyways, so we won't be able to. Kaiju, drink Pilk, become infinite. I still need to try Pilk. It is something that I will absolutely try at some point. I just need to figure out when. It's intriguing. I think it's going to be kind of like a creamier Pepsi, but I don't know. My curiosity is running rampant. And so you're at home chilling. Nice. Is the new job going well? I know that I checked in like shortly after you started, but I hope that it's still going pretty well. And then at Kaichu, you said so you stream not TLSG, but not for Sulky. So Sulky is in a weird spot. Sulky Hulky is that's Poke. Sulky is in a spot where I'm matching up against the same people TLSG matches up with, and so it I don't know. It feels tough. It's definitely one that's kind of challenging to do consistently, and so we're gonna have some ups and downs. I do want to stream it at some point. I just don't know exactly when. I figured this would be an easy way for me to not really have to pay attention to the games, at least as much, so that I could chat a little bit more. We started the stream at rank 14. I think we're now like 27, and so we've just about doubled our rank in about two. Wow, it's been 2.5 hours. Where has the night gone? Oh man. We probably have about another 30 minutes. I probably need to pack it in. Pilk equals Pepsi milk. Yeah, and people either are really grossed out by the sound of it, or they seem to really enjoy it. And I'm intrigued. I don't know. I'd have to give it a try before I made a call on it. And then cap pull 1 is from 0 to 212, pull 2 218 to 465, about 23 cards only, and then pull 3 is above 465. And so yeah, that sounds close, but it's around that range. I don't know if that's the exact one though. So we have Kunlun and we have Los Diablos base. So I think we're fine just playing in the left lane for now. I don't think we play our Rocket Raccoon just yet. I think we hold him for just a little bit. Drinking Pilk is when you get your insight too high. Does it bring your insight back down? OTS, it's not horrible. And then GOMD, was Blue Marvel better being a 6 cost, or is he better at 5? I think he's much more flexible at 5. So now you can do some things like combo Blue Marvel into an Onslaught. So he's much more flexible. He has 1 less power, but that wasn't ever his draw anyways. So I definitely think he's better now than he was before. It felt really niche to ever see him in a deck, but now there's a lot of decks that run him and are able to utilize him pretty well. I think we're going to play Iron Fist. Then whatever we play next, we'll play into the far right lane so that it moves over into Kunlun and gets the +2 power bonus. A Kaiju. Yeah, no, I took the cube counter off because I felt like it was a little bit unfair. We knew that coming into this, we were going to gain quite a few cubes pretty quickly, and so I didn't add the counter this time around. Because it's going to end up being like something like 50 to 100 cubes, and I just at that point it doesn't feel as impactful. It's almost a surefire thing that we're going to be positive by the end of the stream. A Kaichu, so make a new one to make new players desperate. Oh no, it's not TLSG. So I don't think we'll play too many players for a while. I think it'll be not until we're in like pool 2. That we start seeing real players. But 50 to 100 cubes does look good, but I didn't know if I was going to keep up with it, knowing that I was going to focus a lot on chat and things like that. I didn't know how much I was actually going to keep up with that. I wish I had those results now. Yeah, there's some lunch live streams that I just wish I was positive instead of -20. And so this is a nice change of pace, knowing that we have a pretty good advantage going up against any of these bots, and they're not like the hyper competitive ones. It does feel very, very good. So I think we kind of spread it out a little bit wide. We probably don't play anything into the Hawkeye lane. We probably let that one stay at 1 and just lose this lane and push our power here and here. But we're going to push it over there just in case they maybe counter us in one of the locations, so we can pivot at that point. Please enter Carnage versus Venom event so your cubes can be useful. Ooh, interesting. Can you enter? I can look. I don't know that I'm able to from the Steam client, but I'll take a look at it, Umais. And what team are you? Are you Carnage or Venom? So she's going to gain an additional 4 power. So this is going to be 14. It's going to be a 17 power lane. If we do a Nightcrawler, that's going to push us to 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 power lane. The Blue Marvel should give us the win condition in the Ruins as well. I think we do that versus sticking an Iron Man in there. I think this is a fairly safe play line. And we'll go ahead and snap. We're going against bots. These are pretty easy matchups for the most part. We need to snap a little bit more aggressively. Umais, your Team Carnage. And I think Team Carnage was the one that needed the most help, right? And then Avalon, what is the event? I actually haven't looked too much at it. I know there's a Carnage versus Venom event in the news section, but I don't think it's available on the Steam client, unless they've fixed it. So Clarice is good. I have another weirdo dog that is... I don't know if you guys can see it, or her, not it. She's doing what we should be doing, and that's sleeping. So she is enjoying her sleep. I don't know how she's sleeping that soundly. She is all for living her best life, close to us, not a care in the world. Just a giant ball of floof. Yeah, she does need a belly rub. I don't want to scare her though. So she's sleeping pretty deep. I don't want to startle her awake. And then Jeremiah, speaking of which, you should get some sleep. You are right. I'm gonna go for another like 15 minutes or so. And then that belly, yeah. They're back sleepers, and so they're so big and they're just so floofy. But yeah, I'm gonna go for maybe another 15-20 minutes, and then I'm gonna call it a night. But it's been super fun. I definitely want to do this again. I didn't know how many people would really jump in and join us, especially for like a new stream. But we've had some pretty good chat going on. We've had quite a few members. I'm very happy with the way that this one went. And then Zombie Lemon, thank you again for the super sticker, for the #1 fan. I appreciate the support, and I appreciate you just even you just being here. The $10 dono is so much appreciated. But just being a viewer and enjoying the content is absolutely welcomed as well. Thank you for the support. So I think we play just a couple more. I would really like to be able to reach. I would really like to be able to reach Blade. That would, I think, help evolve the deck quite a bit and make it even stronger. And then Jeremiah, what does it feel like? Why does it feel like YouTube is doing a better job of making streaming service than Twitch? Now they just need to make a decent search for it and a good theater mode. Yeah, Jeremiah, I agree. I agree that a lot of things they're doing better than Twitch. There's some chat features that I would like to see, like some like channel points and things to do, like some cool like rewards for the viewers that are here for a while. But for the most part, I've enjoyed. I didn't think I would enjoy. There's our Blade. We have the Blade. We'll go ahead and make an update to the deck. But I feel like the most part, everything that I've experienced here has been really positive, and I didn't anticipate that coming into it. So I think we almost either take out our Hawkeye or our Iron Fist. I think we're going to take out the Iron Fist. We're going to add in Blade, and then we're going to add in Strong Guy as well. Blade should help us make sure that we discard all of our cards on that final turn, especially not having a 6-drop. We always know that we can drop whatever we top deck plus 1/1 power card. to make sure that we discard everything that's in our hand. And so I think we take out Uwadu as well. Unfortunately, he had a strong run. He was very much welcomed while he was here, but I think it is time for the strong guy meta to take over. And so let's go ahead and update the deck list. I don't think I update the snippets just because we're only going to be playing it for just a little bit. So instead, I think I will take off the card abilities. And we should be able to... Oh no, I didn't take over I didn't bring the Steam chat back over. That's unfortunate. Maybe I can snag it from the live camera only view. We're gonna try and copy and paste this real quick because when I updated to there we go. Now I just have to adjust it. Whenever I updated to the Steam client, I redid my scenes, and so there's still a little bit in the works. I still want to do some kind of updates to the scenes overall, but what we have now will get us through until everything else takes over. So since we're not going to update the card abilities, let's go ahead and have the chat on screen instead. Most wholesome snap tuber here, guys. Thank you so much. Later, TLSG. Are you heading out? Anyways, gotta go. Keep up the great content. Zombie Lemon, thank you so much for coming and hanging out for while you did. I hope that you have a great night, and we will see you next time. So everyone spam emotes. Did what happened? Oh, because of it being on the screen. Oof, that's a big oof. We have a new one, and we have the Spider-Woman avatar hair back. That one is back. That one's a favorite of ours. We're a little bit sad that the avatar is now actually how it's supposed to be. We'll always remember it with our emote though. Update the screenshot. Thank you. So I didn't update the deck, did I? I took a snippet, but I didn't change it. So there we go. That is our updated list, which should be a little bit more optimized than the last one we were running. It should have a little bit more power push. And then Milky Snap. I know that I saw that your chat came through, but I got distracted right away. So you said, hey, TLSG, how's the new account been going? It's been going well. It's been really fun to really focus on chat and just a little bit less of the hard thought process plays and really thinking about all of our counter plays and potentials, and just really enjoying the chat and the viewer experience has been phenomenal. I did see that a couple of your videos have popped off for the beginner style stuff, and so I hope that there are great things ahead for you. So for anyone that doesn't know, Milky Snap is still pretty... just recently started creating videos around Snap, right? But has put forth some pretty quality things already. And so if you have any downtime and you want some more content, definitely check out some of Milky Snap's stuff. So I think we focus on our Khazar over Blue Marvel. We don't know if we're going to be able to get rid of our hand just yet or not. But I think we play Khazar into Stark Tower for now. And then Milky Snap is Sulky Hulky now RIP. No, we're going to have a video tomorrow that's Sulky Hulky, but we're using a pool 2 only deck. Actually, it's pretty primarily pool 1. Almost everything except for one of the cards in it are replaceable. And so tomorrow we're going to have a Sulky Hulky video. It's just for the stream. I want it to be able to... Sulky Hulky is in a tough spot. So with Sulky Hulky, I match against the same people I play against on TLSG, and so the matches are incredibly tough. They feel really competitive and just overall really hard to navigate. And so I wanted something where I'm able to focus on chat. I wanted something where the decks that I'm running are relevant to any new users that found the channel and are jumping into the live scene. And so that's where we landed on this tonight. And so the new account has been going really well. And then Hampkoff. I hope that thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I know that the notification hasn't gone off yet. It will at some point. But thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope you're having a great night so far. So because of the impact or the icebox to Strong Guy, we're not able to drop him. As well as get rid of our hand. Otherwise, we could have done the 4-cost Strong Guy plus Blade plus Ant-Man for an insane last turn power push, but instead we don't quite get that reach. I think we do Iron Man here, and then we do an Ant-Man into the Angela lane. I think that should be enough power, and we should be okay to snap. And then Get Where. Thank you for this build. I've been wondering how to use Guido effectively. So Strong Guy. Yeah, so Strong Guy is really good. And if you have a low enough curve, and so this deck list wants you to play all of your cards every single game. And so the Strong Guy can actually trigger. If you aren't able to reliably trigger him, then he feels really underwhelming. And so this deck list usually pushes to make sure that he gets that ongoing ability. But sometimes Icebox will hit your Strong Guy and kind of ruin that for you. But for the most part, you should be able to trigger it pretty consistently. And then you said, Milky Snap, you said, well, appreciate the shout out. That's incredibly kind. So, and no, I think for it being for your first couple of videos, you're doing phenomenal, Milky. And so to have one pop off to like, I think it was 9K the last I saw, is huge. So hopefully that brings some pretty good kind of growth and different kind of player base and community to your channel. And it's kind of funny. One of the normal live stream viewers, they actually made a suggestion in our Discord for me to update my live overlay so that it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And your overlay was kind of what they used as a reference for a good build. And so you have some people from TLSG that are watching and that really do appreciate the value that you're bringing out. And so let's go ahead and skip turn 2. Unfortunately, we don't have any of our like low cost cards. So we kind of drew into the highest possible curve we can. The Angela now feels good. I don't usually like to drop Blade early. I like to save it for whenever we know what we're going to be able to guarantee that we drop. And so right now we could hit a bad target. We want to use it on the last turn whenever we're really strapped for kind of pushing that board presence. And then a Kaichu, maybe you need a rest for a while. At least don't forget to drink water. So I am out of water. I'm actually only going to be live for maybe another 10 or so minutes. I want to give this deck list a couple of games just to make sure that we try it out. I think this is built where I want it to be, but it might be that we eventually take out maybe Iron Man to lower the curve again if it feels like we're not getting through all of our hand consistently enough. But in my head, this curves out pretty well. But if it turns out that we're not, we could always take away like an Iron Man or a Bishop to make sure that we can consistently trigger Strong Guy. And so let's go ahead and drop Khazar into the Angela lane. Both of the Bifrost are going to push our cards all the way over to the right. So they're going to cap out this location. We're going to add one additional card here. And then Lizard King. Any advice for my pull 2 movement deck? I've got Electra, Iron Fist, Nightcrawler, Forge, Craven, Multiple Man, Cloak, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Miles, Vision, Heimdall, and America Chavez. So a pull 2 movement is tough. You're already going against the grain with a movement deck because movement in general is kind of on the weaker side. And then without some of the really big heavy hitters from pool 3 like Vulture or Human Torch, his name eluded me for a second, or Human Torch, you're losing quite a bit of your value. So I think it's doable, and it sounds like you have a pretty decent curve. I don't see Hulkbuster in there though. Did I overlook Hulkbuster? Hulkbuster is really good for merging with a multiple man, so that when you start moving it, it pushes 7 power multiple man across the board instead of just 3. So multiple man becomes a lot more impactful at that point. So that may be a card that you look at potentially subbing in if you don't already have it in there. I'm going to go ahead and push Iron Man to the far left. We're going to push for the left and the far right. And then Kaz, is this a new account? What rank are you? Yeah, so this is a new account. We started off today at rank 14. We are at around rank 28 now or so after streaming for a couple hours. So we made some pretty decent progress on it so far. We're still unlocking pool 1 cards. We just got a couple of big ones with like a blade so that we can really enable a potential strong guy finish, which we may not have built it just the right way because right now, if we did this, we're not going to get through our entire hand. And so if that happens several games in a row, we'll drop one of our high cost card for another low cost card. But here we only need 5 power. So I think it's easy for us to drop an Ant-Man here. We can drop... Actually, let's do Bishop first. We'll do Bishop first so that he gains the most power from the cards we play. We'll do Ant-Man, who's going to give a 4 power push, and then it's going to be 5 and 6, then actually 7 to this lane. So it's a little bit over the top. But then we can cap out this lane with our 1-cost cards to give a pretty decent push in the Bifrost. Andrew, hi buddy. I like the 1-cost deck. It's been a lot of fun. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. Oh, that Enchantress is rough. I think we might still overcome their power, but it's a pretty rough counter to our Iron Man. But yeah, I'm glad that you like the low like Zoo 1-cost deck. It feels very, very consistent at being able to push a decent amount of power into the board in, you know, whatever scenario you draw into. So it's a very flexible deck. And then Tritty, big brain or movement decks require a big brain. It does require like a lot of like really solid focus. I just get to pull 2, and first card was Bucky Barnes. Which deck should I use? So Bucky Barnes is good with a destruction deck. I don't know if at that point you already have all of the tools to make a good destruction deck. But Gene Lima, you might start leaning more towards like running a Carnage and a Nova. That 3-card combo can do some pretty cool things in like some tempo decks and add some value into some more aggro style decks. So if you're wanting to try out your new card, I would put him in something that has maybe a Carnage and a Nova, and then maybe some lower cost cards. Maybe you throw in a Deathlock in there as well for an extra destruction trigger to make sure that you can kill Bucky Barnes whenever it happens, and then see how it goes. I think that plus some low cost cards would be good. And then Sebastian, Iron Fist and Multiple Man worked for me for some time, and it was fun. Yeah, Iron Fist with Multiple Man is strong. I like Iron Fist into a Hulkbuster on the Multiple Man lane because then Hulkbuster will merge and then push that same turn, and so it creates a double 7 power play on that turn, which is huge. And then Akaz, Multa's been grinding pull 1 decks with a new account. Yeah, I actually jumped into the last or the later part, maybe the last 15-20 minutes of his stream today, and saw that he jumped up to, I think it was somewhere around rank 40. He's still around collection level 100, and so yeah, I know that he's been having a good time with it, and I wanted to check it out as well. What is the buff of Strong Guy, buddy? So Strong Guy has the ongoing ability, if your hand is empty, you get a plus 6 power bonus. And so he becomes a 4-cost 10 power card, which is huge. If you can guarantee that you trigger him, having a 10 power push in whichever lane you push him into is very, very strong. Carnage, Nova, Bucky plus Deathlock, or Killmonger are both amazing. Yeah, and I don't, since they just got into pool 2, I don't know that they have Killmonger just yet. But into a Khazar Zoo deck would be a pretty good use for the Bucky Barnes with those kind of destruction triggers. You stack the rest of your cards into the other 2 lanes, and then you let Nova do a lot of the heavy lifting, and then Bucky Barnes becomes a pretty strong token in and of himself. Milky, your dedication and daily consistency is absolutely stellar, sir. I'm out for now, but thank you, and I'll catch you again soon. I'm so glad that you jumped in for a little bit, Milky. I hope that you have a great night, and I appreciate you being here for at least a little bit. Hopefully, really good things to come for your content, and hopefully it's able to do well for you. And so I hope that you have a great night, and I hope that you catch some sleep. And then Tritty, I love playing Ultron with Wave and Onslaught and Patriot, pretty fun. Yeah, to be able to really high roll those Ultron bots feels like when it works really well. But the Wave into Onslaught combo is what kind of gets me, because it's a little bit less consistent. Maybe if you add in Magic in there as well, you have a secondary card so that you could extend the game, do Onslaught, and then you do your Ultron on turn 7. I think there's definitely some potential there. So I think we do Strong Guy into Fisk Tower. We do have a Rocket and an Iron Man we're going to be able to play on turn 5. I don't think we even need the Blade this time around. We had such a low curve that I think most of our cards are going to be able to stand for themselves. We'll be able to trigger our Strong Guy bonus. My favorite 1-cost is Ant-Man. Yeah, Ant-Man's very versatile. So he benefits and works well in ongoing deck lists. He works well in Zoo deck lists. He works well in anything that like really curves into a lot of cards early. Yeah, he's a really strong 1-cost card. I think all the way throughout the game, I don't know that he's at the top rankings all the way throughout, but I think for the most part he's very viable in a very wide range of decks. So let's go ahead and do. Actually, no, we're gonna need Blade, aren't we? We might not draw into Blade because of. We'll see. We'll see if we get it. Because next turn we're gonna do an Iron Man and a Rocket, and so then we're still gonna have one spare card if we don't draw into Blade. That is. So maybe we need a little bit of extra help in Fisk Tower just in case we don't trigger him. I think maybe we need to look at our curve just ever so slightly to push it down just a tiny bit. Maybe with Strong Guy, we forego the Iron Man and just lean into the overall big push from Angela, from Bishop, Strong Guy, and then our 1-cost buffs. How can you get a Bishop card? Anyways, have a great day while watching. A Bishop card. So Bishop is unlocked through pool 1. So as you're unlocking cards, it's just one of the ones that you'll acquire. And so it's not anything that you have to do in particular to attain. Have they already moved their Nightcrawler? I don't remember.
Target locked.
So I think we do a Rocket and then we'll do an Iron Man here. I don't remember if they've moved their Nightcrawler already. If they have and this is locked in, then I think we do this in the reverse. Because that would push us up over. But since I don't know, they moved it. They moved Nightcrawler. Thank you, Jeremiah. I'm so glad that you were paying attention. So we're gonna play Rocket into Monster Metropolis with the Blue Marvel bonus. That should push this up over that power that we need. And then Iron Man can help guarantee that we win Fisk Tower. And I think this may be our last one. If not, we'll keep doing one more until we just can't anymore. But I think this is probably the last one we do for now. Yeah, I see why you use Blade. It's a great idea. Yeah, Blade helps with the consistency quite a bit. And then Bert, hey, how's it going? I'm if you're just jumping in, I'm so sorry. We're winding down. We've been live for almost 3 hours, which was pretty good. I had a really good stream. I had a really good chat with everybody. Sammy, okay, for old time's sake, we'll do one more. We'll get to rank 30. We'll get to rank 30 and then we'll call it there. And even 16 rank games, or an easy 16 ranks gained, we'll gain that and then we'll head out. And so, Bert, I hope that you're having a great night so far. I'm glad that you're able to jump in, even if it's only for just a little while. I'm glad that you're able to jump in and join us for today. So we have all of the plus ones, all of the plus ones coming down. And then God, you said I like your deck. Thank you. I'm so glad that you enjoy. Are you talking about this one that we're using right now, or one that the one that we featured recently? Replacement for Rocket, Walito, any 1-cost card. This deck list is really flexible, and you lose a tiny bit of power. But before I unlocked Rocket, I was running Uwadu, I was running Iron Fist, and I was running Misty Knight. And so any 1-cost card is going to be pretty good. Anything that you can kind of flood onto the board will do really well for you. Trinity, it's been a fun stream. That 3 hours went quickly. Yeah, it did. It went really fast. I thought I was only going to be live for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And then here we are 3 hours later. And it doesn't feel like I've been streaming that long. It's been a very enjoyable stream. I'm glad I was able to catch kind of a little bit wider of an audience than we normally hit. It's been very fun to be able to interact with some of you guys that can't normally jump into the lives because it's in the middle of the night for you guys. And so I'm glad we were able to kind of catch each other and just chat a little bit. And then anybody that's new here, we had quite a few new people in as well. Save the Korg to trigger the Tinker's Workshop. I was thinking the same thing as well, Jeremiah, that we might want to hold it, but we decided to gamble instead. The smarter play would have been to hold the Korg. That way we had a guaranteed drop into Tinker's Workshop to trigger into triggering our Hawkeye. But the way I saw it, we only have 2 cards that we potentially could not play. And we had one of those in hand. Those were our 5-cost cards in Blue Marvel and Iron Man. Anything else that we drew into, we'd be able to play. And so I figured I'd gamble a little bit. And then Rar, you said pull 1 discard deck. I got Ant-Man, Nightcrawler, Angela, Forge, Medusa, Colossus, Wolverine, Mr. Fantastic, Lady Sif, Jessica, Strong Guy, Apocalypse. Do you have Swordmaster yet? Pull 1 discards are tough. I'll preface it with they're tough to run and trigger consistently. But you don't have Swordmaster yet. So Swordmaster will help. And then from there, Wolverine a lot of times is kind of tricky because he ends up just being a 2-cost 3 power. I do like Colossus, and for Wolverine you don't have any destruction triggers, right? So I think Wolverine would be better as something else, but there's not a lot of support for discard early on, so it does make it, oh my gosh, Tritty. So it does make it difficult. Discard really starts picking up in pool 2 once you get some additional cards like Swarm and a few other discard units, and then a lot of times it's very pool 3 heavy in needing like Calling Wing and like Hell Cow and some of those other really big ones. I think it's probably possible to run depending on what you're matching up against and what rank you are, but it does get much more consistent later on. So we're gonna snap for this last one, and then I am gonna go ahead and like my own stream. So thank you, Tritty, for the call out, because I'm the worst at liking my own stream. I always start it and just forget to go in and push it, and push for the like. So I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna go ahead and end the turn. We're gonna let it go ahead and play out, and let's load into the stream. You may hear a quick second of an ad.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. No, we did like it. Look at me. It's the one time that I did not forget. And so if you guys did like the stream, we're going to end here after that horrible loss. Okay, we're going to do one more. We can't end on a loss. We have to end on one that's good. You did this to me by making us do the first plus one more. I do need some sleep. But I don't want to end on a loss either. That's the second loss of the day. It feels bad. So we're going to do just one more, and then we will end after that. We must end on +8 games. If we're going for +8 games, we might as well snap right away. Good stream. This time is cool. Definitely can't leave it on L. Especially with with this deck, ending on an L, and with our rank and going up against bots, it just feels just bad. 40 minutes later. We're gonna try and make it just 3 minutes. Oh man, we enjoyed you enough. You need some sleep. I do need some sleep. So we'll jump off after this one. Win, lose, disconnect, whatever. We will end after this one. Yes, ending on an 8 is the best. Maybe we can make that happen. Better retreat than losing a lot of cubes. That's true. If I didn't realize they had a path to a win condition, or else I would have retreated out. You just got rocket, so you don't need replacements. You're good to go. We're gonna go ahead and throw a couple of our cards. We're gonna get 2 Hulks. Since we're so early on, we don't have to worry about Shang-Chi's, and so as long as we can push as many Hulks as they can, we'll get just as much advantage. Yeah, the Hulk or the Carnage was next level. It was a next level big brain move. Oh, it fixed it for you, Novert? That's huge. How's Strong Guy feeling in this deck? So far, he feels like we have too many high cost cards. I think to get him to work optimally, we might have to drop our Iron Man. Either our Iron Man or maybe our Bishop would do the trick. But as far as right now, he feels a little underwhelming. We haven't got him to trigger just yet. Yeah, and he's amazing when he triggers. But it looks like for him to trigger with our current setup, we have to draw into Blade. And so without that, he starts feeling a little bit lackluster. And so I think we may look at the curve ever so slightly, because we want him to trigger 90% of the time if we have him. And in this deck list, I think this is maybe game 4, game 5. We haven't been able to do it. We haven't been able to do it yet. So we don't have Blade again, which is bad. You would say drop the Iron Man. Yeah, I think it's clogging up our board space a little bit too much, and it only impacts one lane. So then it's definitely the greedy play. Sometimes it can really elevate your power, but you usually don't need it to push that much. So I think we sub out Iron Man for another 1 cost, and I'll draft that just before we end the stream. But I think that is probably our play. And I think I'm actually going to do a Khazar into an Ant-Man. That should help us win the Nidavellir location. If we draw into a Blade, next turn we can play Blue Marvel and Blade to trigger our Strong Guy and get rid of our Bishop. And so we want to play a few of our cards where we can. Game-changing, wasted buff. Oh, the Carnage? We see Kraven for the first time. I wonder what this card does. So they have a Nightcrawler as well in Nidavellir. Hopefully we have a 1 out of 3 shot of drawing into our Blade. That would be the fitting way to end. They might snap after this turn if they feel like they have the lead in more than one lane, but they don't. I don't think they'll snap on us. And it is not Blade, unfortunately. Yeah, I think we need to drop one of our high cost cards. Although this time around, I don't think it would have mattered. We didn't draw into Iron Man anyways. We lose this one, yeah? If we lose 2 games in a row, we have to end the stream. Win or lose. Win or lose, we end the stream. We're going to play our Nightcrawler to the left and Blue Marvel. That will make sure we win a Nidavellir. And they have to play power into either of these 2 lanes, or both of these lanes, to be able to win both of them. Let's log. They're really testing my restraint here. I don't like ending on a retreat. But we're gonna do it anyways. Let's go ahead and change. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it this time, just because I'm starting to kind of wear down and get tired. End when you reach rank 30. Do not reach rank 30. You did it. You've done it to us. Hold on. Let's change the Iron Man. We're gonna be streaming for another 3 hours. I think we add in another 1 cost card. I don't think anything else necessarily feels good. So we're gonna push Uwadu back in. At least for now. We're only gonna play 1 game. That's all it's gonna take. So I'm not even gonna update the element. Don't forget to hydrate. Q is stopping us from hydrating. I don't have any drink left. I have to get up and go get some drink, but Q doesn't want us to. Q wants us to stay here. It's true rival behavior. But no, I do like the idea of ending on a rank 30. I think he will let us win. We're actually gonna snap into this. Bert, this is smurfing. We're not playing against many players. I don't know that we've matched up against any humans tonight. Most of it is our bot. Ooh, this one could be. This one might be a human player. First time on your stream, loving it so far. Freedom, I'm so glad that you were able to catch us. This is a little bit outside of our normal stream time. But if you do enjoy it, we have plenty of content on our YouTube channel. So make sure to check it out once we go live. I'm glad that you found the stream, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it so far. We're happy to have you. So the middle location is the hub. It gives us Rogue. Do you think bots are still on the rank now? Yeah, so early on they are still on the rank. Early on they're still on the rank quite a bit. I think until you get around 30 or 40, and that's when you start seeing humans. Game changing, what a Chad. No rest, but for entertainment for his fans. I salute you. I appreciate it. We're doing our best here. We were smashing out wins, and now we might start this. We lost what, 2 in a row? No, we lost 1 in a row, and then we got an unsatisfying win afterwards. And so we're trying to make it. Tritty, what deck do you think is most consistent for an infinite push? That depends on what rank you're at, or what collection rank you're at. If you're very far into it, then I think right now Destroyer is pretty straightforward to run and pretty powerful. And then you could also do things like You can also do things like Red Skull. Red Skull's pretty powerful right now as well. Trying to think of anything else that feels really strong outside of those. There's some decent like movement styles, but I think those are like the two that are at the top of my mind. Is a Destroyer and a 0 Red Skull deck. should be pretty strong. If you're deep into pool 3. Otherwise, it's a completely different answer. And then Mitchell, you said, do you make money off of YouTube? So we after 1,000 subscribers, we get ad revenue, but it's small fry money. It's not even enough to be like a job that we're working like minimum wage for the time we put in. It's like pennies on the hour. So yeah, we get a little bit of money in return, but that's not necessarily why we're doing it. We're doing it because we enjoy the content, and we enjoy. I enjoy the content. I enjoy making the stuff that you guys enjoy, and just interacting with and having this kind of community build around this game that I really enjoy. So I think we do a strong guy. We can do I think we do a Korg instead. We might leave Jotunheim alone, because we're going to beat the Scarlet Witch play here. If they play anything, they lose 5 power overall. Strong mustache, by the way. Thank you so much, Laser Gazer. I appreciate it. That's a dedication, no matter win or loss. That I always watching this stream to the end, but sometimes I'm late. No worries. I appreciate you catching it when you can, and I think it's huge. Just any kind of support or any time that you view and just enjoy it, that's a success for me. The hub did potentially mess up Strong Guy, but we do get the luck of curving into it anyways, and so we can. They don't have any ongoing cards, so I think we throw her to the wolves. We just throw her out there. We let her go. We can do a Nightcrawler move over. I think we do a Rocket here because I think they may do an Odin. Ooh. If they do an Odin, it'll be 8 more power. This could be 10 more power for a total of 15. We're going to get 6. This would give us 4, so that's another 10. So we get another 10 as well. We're fine. I was thinking about leaving Nightcrawler here and just playing Rocket over in Jotunheim, but I think we're fine this way. Let's go ahead and end on an 8-cuber. Can we end the 30 rank climb grind? We'll see. And then Freedom, what's your go-to deck for your main account? For my main account, it's kind of funny. I don't have a go-to. Just because I do daily builds, and so I find a deck and then I pivot off of it pretty quickly into something else. And so I find one that's really good, but I oftentimes don't run it for very long. But I do think kind of the same answer. I think Destroyer and Red Skull are both really strong. I have a pretty spicy build coming on Monday. I already have footage shot, and it's a strong deck. That one is going to be a contender. I think that one has a pretty good chance of kind of taking over the ladder for a couple of days once it goes live and once it's featured. And so we'll see more about that on Monday. But that is an 8-cube win. That puts us into rank 30. We do hit the one more and the rank the Monday spoiler. All I can say, Addy, is that Monday's deck is a strong one. It is going to be one that I would not like to match up against. But yeah, we are rank 30. We get the spicy 200 credits, and that is where we are going to. That is where we're going to end the stream. Trinity, can we get a hint? It's strong. It is a very strong deck. It's already a well-established archetype, but the take on this build, I'm so excited about. It makes a couple of kind of changes to it that whenever I saw them, it was kind of like a light bulb moment. I was like, that makes a lot of sense in this deck list, and nobody else has been running it. And so whenever you see it, I think you guys will think the same thing. But that's all the spoiler that I'm going to give for now. Thank you guys for coming and enjoying the stream. I will do more of these late night streams. This was really fun. This was incredibly fun. And then Addy, it is a pool 3 deck. This was incredibly fun. I'm glad that I was able to kind of chat with you and just enjoy enjoy some gameplay and some chat. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your night or morning or day, depending on where you're at. And we will see you guys on probably not tomorrow night. I bet I'm gonna I bet I'm going to be pretty tired tomorrow night. But I will see you, if not on a live stream, I'll see you on a video in the next couple days, and then on maybe our Monday lunch live stream if you guys are able to catch it. I hope you guys have a great night. As always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.